Okay, I think it's time now. We'll also... I'll unmute here too. Hello, can you hear me?
Can you broadcast your music to me so I can get the Meena vibe? Yeah, you basically screen share your screen. No?
I could try to. I don't know how well this works.
Okay. Can you link me the video that you played?
Yeah.
I'll watch it.
Here, I'll link it at my timestamp, so you can be kind of roughly on the same part of the song.
Yeah. Let's go.
I thought you were chewing gum again. Also.
No. I wouldn't do that.
I glanced over at your model right before I switched screens, and I just saw I saw the chewing animation, and so I just thought you were passively chewing gum while waiting again or something.
He thinks this after I just said that I would not chew gum. I just spit it out. That's my boy Augmented. Me and Augmented are gum chewers. I feel such strong affinity with this man.
Yeah, I'm not a gummy. I like gummies, but I don't chew gum really.
Actually, yeah. You know what? I've never really thought about that. How come? Just never got into it as a kid?
Yeah, it's my thing of gum is that it's like a foreign object that's in your mouth, and it'll taste good for a little bit, and then it starts to taste bad after it's been in there for 10 minutes, and I just want to get rid of it at that point. To me, it's I would just rather just eat a candy I can eat. I don't like having something that you can't consume, basically.
Meena, you need to roll over your model, need to hold the Alt button and then the mouse wheel, just a little bit.
Okay, which
you gotta
direction?
Scale.
Which
yeah,
direction?
like that. More down.
Whoops.
With hugs. More like that. No, like that. Exactly, right there. Stay there.
Okay.
We're just trying to get a scale. Wait. All right, scale down more.
Okay, how's that?
That's perfect. Basically, we just need our heads to be even.
Okay.
Hi, Bush. Thank you for complimenting our outfits. I wanted us to match super bad, especially for the occasion. I feel very System Shock 2
Yeah.
core. How about you?
Today, we are all cyberpunks.
I'm really sad that
today.
I'm sad that you can't have the sexy variant of your costume.
Oh yeah, it's a little too good for Twitch, I guess.
Hold on, there's not a walnut. Wait, this isn't a walnut. This is an almond. Yeah, you guys, you have no idea. If you want to see that full sexiness, you're gonna have to look at the ref sheet.
Yeah. I believe it's on. I think it's on my Twitter.
So, did you properly get your code for
Yes. So that's what I was wanting to get into. Also, happy Thursday, everyone. Hope everyone is having a good day so far. This is a pretty big, I want to say it's a big moment for me, at least, because this is a thing that I guess I was expecting to get a long time ago. I backed the System Shock 1 Kickstarter back in 2016, so we're getting up to almost 10 years now since the Kickstarter on the System Shock 1 remake, and one of the things that was supposed to be included in this was the System Shock 2 remake, or not remake, remaster. As far as I know, there's no System Shock 2 remake, but there is the remaster, and it's out today. I've got my key. I'm very curious how this remaster is going to turn out, but yeah, I've been pretty looking forward to this remaster because mainly the main thing I'm actually most interested in it out of anything is just the functional multiplayer component being way less jank to run, because I actually think System Shock 2 and multiplayer it's not a game designed first and foremost to be a multiplayer game, but it's a very fun experience in multiplayer too. The problem with it is it's just very unstable if you play it as it was, where you have to do direct IP connection, it's peer-to-peer, and you get desync issues, it crashes, you get loading transition
Meena.
issues and stuff. What's up?
Meena, did you switch to your headset, by the way?
I mean, you're on Discord, you're gonna hear my other microphone, but chat is hearing my headset.
Oh, okay. That's why I'm weirded out, because I'm expecting like the Meena stream experience, but I'm getting the Discord Meena experience. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. I'm sorry. I just wanted to give you a heads up until if you didn't know.
No,
Please
I
continue.
know.
I'm so sorry to interrupt.
Um,
You were talking about the instability of the co-op of System Shock 2.
oh yeah, you basically would have to do these kind of like, you know, precautionary things when you play it, because of like when you go through loading screens in the multiplayer, like it was basically a coin toss if the game would just desync during loading, and you would have to just close your game and then you'd have to reconnect again. And it was just like it was a fun but very kind of like duct tape and bubblegum kind of experience, I guess I would describe it, where it kind of works, but it feels like it's barely functional at the same time. So the remaster, you know, seeming to have a better kind of like network performance, and like I guess I'm hoping that it would squash a lot of the bugs in playing in co-op, and you know, desync issues and whatnot, stability issues. I feel like that's the thing I like the most, coming from the remaster.
Yeah, like a long while back, I of course played it single player first, because that's the way you should play it. For anybody who has never played this game, please do not play co-op for your first time. You need to experience it single player.
To me,
but whenever, go ahead.
Oh, just System Shock 2 to me is it's almost like a survival horror kind of experience, and I feel like isolation is like a key factor in the game's kind of tone and atmosphere. So the moment you play it in 2-player, 3-player, 4-player, etc., I feel like you kind of you sort of throw out that isolation element of the game. Like the atmosphere is still there, but if you're just, you know, if you're playing the game and you have a buddy with you and you're kind of running around and goofing off, and you know, it just feels like it feels like a more funny kind of like goofy experience when you play it in multiplayer. And I feel like it'll kind of like, you know, dilute that kind of like isolation kind of element that you get from playing it in single player as like a first experience. But I feel like on multiple playthroughs, it's like, you know, you've experienced the game as it's meant to be first playthrough. You know, just go nuts on multiple playthroughs. Like, I don't really care how you experience it on a subsequent, but I feel like on a first playthrough, like definitely play it in single player. It just feels like it's better balanced, and the tone just like matches it being a single player game.
I mean, I feel like it's just clear this was made to be a single player game, and then the multiplayer was added as an afterthought. And I think a lot of games during a certain period were kind of like that, right? Like, well, not quite. Like, I'm thinking stuff like Spec Ops: The Line. It's made to be a single player, and then they tack on a multiplayer, but that's different. That's a different kind of multiplayer experience.
That's where it's a separate component. Where it's like they made a single player campaign, and then also there's like a multiplayer like PvP mode that's like a separate component that doesn't really have anything to do with the campaign of the game. And it was also actually, I mean, similar overlap though is that Spec Ops: The Line, I don't think when they developed that game, I don't think they intended that game to even have multiplayer, but it was publisher requested that like the game required to have multiplayer. And I remember reading something about the developers, I don't remember what exactly they said, but something about that they feel like the multiplayer, like having to develop that, just took away so much of the development time that could have gone to the single player, basically, that they feel like it was a mistake, you know, having to do a multiplayer for that game. But with System Shock 2, it was also a publisher requested feature where that was a thing that they basically required Looking Glass Studios and Irrational Games to include in the game, was that there must be a multiplayer component. So they just kind of slapped in the ability to play the game with up to 4 people. You know, just the same campaign and everything, you just have 4 people in it. But they also have, like, they include some pretty cool features that support the multiplayer too, such as like being able to like drop items in other people's inventories, you know, splitting nanite stacks, splitting items so you can help like share items with people and stuff. So they actually thought of things like that for the multiplayer, which I think is really cool. But it's definitely not a game that was designed to be, you know, multiplayer first, basically. Also, hello, Shibiko.
Hi everybody. We actually have been looking at chat. Whenever we get going, we really be going. Oh, Robin! Hi, Robin.
Got a Robin
Robin
Chan
raided
raid.
you. Say hi to her. Hi.
Hello, Robin Chan. Thank you for the raid.
We're doing a spontaneous collab. We hope you had a good stream. What were you guys doing? Also, I was gonna say, the whole bubblegum and tape thing with the multiplayer and the original System Shock 2, it just made it like when we were trying to play it, we would get frozen so much and we would both have to close out of the game completely and then boot it back up. But we kept at it because it was fun. It was actually fun. But because of that, it made it to where, well, we're not going to do that again anytime soon. But now that you have this all fixed, supposedly, I wouldn't mind doing another like co-op run in this game here and there. And yo, full party, you, me, Kubra, Augmented, and then we could swap around with our other friends. That would be kind of crazy.
Player,
I feel like. Have you ever done 4-player System Shock 2?
I've done 3. I've only done 3 at the highest. I've never done 4.
Okay.
I feel like it would be chaos when you get up to 4.
Wait, what's the super boss of what game? Sorry, I've actually I haven't been looking at Twitter as much as I used to, so I miss so much stuff.
The super boss.
Super boss. Oh, Deltarune. Oh, that's the it's like.
Isn't it an Undertale?
Related? Yeah. It's like some
kind
of sequel kind of thing. I wonder if it was Robin that told me about that game before. But for anybody in chat, are any of you guys familiar with System Shock IP, System Shock 2 specifically? Meena streamed both before, but I don't know how many of you guys were around back then. We should reintroduce the game and IP, for the people who might not be familiar. System Shock 1 and 2 are very different from each other, wouldn't you say?
Yeah. I would say they're almost like... System Shock 2 is almost kind of like a spiritual sequel to System Shock 1, I want to say, where it's a pretty different game than the first one in a lot of ways. And it has... I mean, the game originally wasn't even developed to be a System Shock game. It was meant to be a new IP that was kind of inspired by System Shock, but EA Games, which was the publisher at the time, basically requested also that, hey, you should, that System Shock IP, just make it a sequel to that, which they end up repivoting the game and changing the story of the game to make it kind of align into being a sequel to System Shock 1, but it's there's similarities between the two games, but they're also very different in a lot of ways. Personally, of all the games in the series, which we have 3 at this point, System Shock 1, System Shock 2, and then we have the remake of System Shock 1, which came out, I think, a couple of years ago. I like System Shock 2.
I was confused. I'm like, what? Did some phone game come out and I didn't realize it?
I'm talking about the remake, but my favorite one is System Shock 2. It's the first one I played. There's a little bit of first game bias there, but I actually really like the first System Shock game a lot too. I feel like System Shock 1 really holds up for its time, but basically, how would I say what's the glue that kind of binds the whole series together? I guess they're technically all considered immersive sim games. The first game was directed by Warren Spector, who later went on to do Deus Ex, which is kind of the pinnacle of immersive sim games. But they're sci-fi, cyberpunkish, kind of techno horror games with kind of emphasis on exploration, bits of puzzle solving, combat, inventory management.
I was about to say RPG elements, but that's what System Shock 2 ends up
2's more of an RPG than the first game. And System Shock 2 kind of introduces pen and paper kind of RPG elements that the first game doesn't quite have, with the character building. And I would say System Shock 2 is more survival horror influenced, I would say, than the first game as well. The first game feels almost like a dungeon crawl, adventure action game kind of shooter, where System Shock 2 I feel is a bit more slower paced, kind of survival horror-y. It also has that kind of dungeon crawl element to it too, but I feel it's not as labyrinth-like as the first game. I don't know, System Shock 2 is it hits a lot of kind of gameplay and aesthetical buttons just right for me, basically, where you know, you get that kind of sci-fi horror vibe. You get cool music. You got, you know, good level design, exploration. I think the story is interesting. Both System Shock 1 and 2, I want to say they're the first games, at least I can think of, that started like the audio log format of storytelling in games, where you pick up files and you have actual
people
like.
Think that's BioShock.
Yeah, people think it's BioShock that started. It's like, no, it's it goes all the way back to System Shock 1. A lot of people even I remember people played Doom 3 also and thinking like, oh, Doom 3 started the audio logs. It's like, no, it goes back to System Shock. Doom 3 has a bit of System Shock in its DNA, I would say. But to me, System Shock 2, I feel like it's the peak of the series. I like the RPG elements. I like the horror vibes. I like the atmosphere, the story, setting, location, all that stuff. It's just like, it just all hits right for me. Came out late 90s, so you got that nice kind of like, you know, late 90s kind of turn of the century, like still sort of pixelated graphics kind of, but we're getting a little more tangible with its environments, and also just very good, like most Looking Glass video games, very, very well detailed and believable environments also, where you go into rooms and there's just so much like detail and like just it really makes you feel like you're in like a lived-in place, and lots of little kind of like micro interactable things, basically like there's a lot of objects you can kind of like, you know, interact with, and it just feels like a real place basically, but it still has that kind of retro graphic vibe to it. So I like all those things.
Wasn't it flat out confirmed that Resident Evil was an inspiration for System Shock 2?
The original design doc before it was System Shock 2 is called Junction Point, and they cite like Resident Evil as like a game where they said, like, you know, in terms of its kind of combat and enemy kind of encounter design, that they were basically saying like, you know, more Resident Evil than Doom, basically, is kind of how they were describing it, basically. Which to me, it's like the fact that they're citing Resident Evil feels like that they're going a bit on the kind of survival horror sort of philosophy in the game. And I feel like it has that with the very limited resources, weapon degradation, like guns breaking, scavenging kind of element. Just kind of general kind of oppressive vibe in the game. You feel very like threatened in this game. The player's pretty fragile, enemies are pretty lethal, resources are scarce. It's overall I would say for like a first time playthrough, it's a very unwelcoming game to play. It doesn't feel like a safe, cozy comfort game like when you first play. This game is like, it feels like it is designed and wants you to feel very isolated and feel very kind of in over your head, basically, where you're kind of dealing with sort of like insurmountable odds, basically, that are stacked against you, and you're not really supposed to feel super powerful. Basically, when you get late game, you get the RPG elements where you get late game, that power starts to kind of build, kind of like in a Resident Evil game. You get to the end of RE2 and you're stacked with like, you know, 5 guns and like a pile of ammo, basically. That same kind of progression exists in this game, but I would say the first half of System Shock 2, especially the engineering deck, like, man, it feels very oppressive to get through. And unless you've played the game enough to where you just know where to go, what to do, how to optimize it and stuff like that, when you don't know what you're doing in this game, it's very daunting. And I know a lot of people tend to, and myself included, kind of take multiple attempts to really get going with the game, because a lot of people will play it and they might get through like the med sci kind of part of the game, hit the engineering bays, and just kind of hit a wall in the game because it just gets so like difficult to like know what to do and like how to deal with all the enemies and just running out of resources.
Right. I wanted to say that like with System Shock 2, I can't say that I could recommend it to just anybody and be surprised if somebody's like, wow, this is kind of hard to figure out, because, you know, you got the RPG system that could be a little bit intimidating because you're worried, what if I make a bad build? I assume maybe that's a fear in any game with RPG elements. And then there's also, you could call it like janky melee. The wrench is not just no-brainer Half-Life kind of. It's like there's an art to to doing it.
Yeah,
and is that
there's
intentional or is that unintended? For it to be a little bit finicky or particular.
I feel like part of that has to do with its sort of leftover design coming from Thief the Dark Project, because it runs on the same engine as Thief, and Thief has a sword where, you know, they wanted a sword that kind of, you know, swings in like physical space basically. So I don't know how much of it is them just borrowing the Thief melee system and they just saying, well, that's good enough basically, or if they were like, no, we actually want that Thief melee system and we feel like that, like, you know, that like adds to the game. So it's hard to really, to me it's hard to say basically, because it's just borrowed from Thief, and I don't really know what their thought process was on the melee, if they just felt like it was, you know, it's serviceable enough, or if it's an intentional design thing, because it even has like a little bit of the like the code, like the enemies and like your own melee kind of interacting, where there's the ability of like parrying, not like a designated parry, but literally like if you swing your wrench and the enemy swings their pipe, there's a chance that the hitboxes of your wrench and their pipe will clash with each other, and it counts as like a parry where you cancel each other's attacks out, which I think is really funny that can happen. And that's a thing that was, you know, it was programmed in Thief to be like an intentional thing, but they just kind of, you know, borrowed that code from Thief and left it in this game too.
I feel like it's a double-edged sword kind of situation, because on one hand, you have a more interesting combat system because of how particular it is. It's as good as you learn to make it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, it can also be a filter for people who are like, why is it so hard to just like hit somebody in this game? Why does it feel like weird, and how am I missing? Like, it doesn't make any sense. So that's why, like, I always dread the idea of remaking this game, because I feel like they will streamline it to where it feels unrecognizable from any other modern game, and how it feels and controls, and you kind of lose something. And I don't want to say like, oh, you lose the jank. It's like, I don't even know if I really want to call it jank exactly. You just lose something that feels more unique, and that makes me a little bit sad.
You lose that kind of image where it's like, you know, if you want to think of like a game as like, you know, like a painting or like a movie or whatever other art form, you lose that element of like the sort of like being present at the time it was made, basically, where this game came out in 1999, so it incorporates kind of everything in the context of like when that game came out, basically, where it's like, you know, all the influences that those developers in particular are influenced by, you know, what other games were they looking at, you know, what engine's it on, how does the game feel and stuff like that. You kind of lose every element that, you know, applies to the art that was just, you know, there at the time it was made. And when you remake it, it's like now you're incorporating a reinterpretation of that same thing, but by different people who, you know, are not associated or, you know, affiliated with the people who originally made it. Basically, it's a completely different like interpretation, different people working on it, and they're going to, you know, everything's going to be different. Everything's going to change. The art's going to be different. The music's going to be different. The way the game feels, plays, moves, sounds, everything is going to be different. And it's going to now be, you know, it's like a snapshot of the year 2025 as opposed to a snapshot of the year 1999, basically. And I don't feel like that just because something is old means that it's automatically, now it's bad and dated and not worth like visiting anymore, basically.
It was totally never good, you guys. We were just all stupid and thought it was good, you know.
Yeah, that's kind of my
limit, okay?
that's my issue of like remakes, because it's just kind of like, yeah, it's the concept of just taking like a piece of media and just being like, yeah, this could be done better, basically, and then you just do it over again. And in some cases that can be true, and that's why I advocate for, like, if you're going to remake something, I feel like a game that should get a remake is something that is a very flawed game that has maybe a good core concept but a bad execution, basically.
Right.
I just don't know why we remake games with good executions, basically. It just seems redundant.
Because like, one, making money. It sells well. Like, that Metal Gear Solid 3 remake is going to sell amazingly because it's called Metal Gear Solid 3.
Yeah.
And a lot of people might pass on it because they're familiar with the context of what went on with the Metal Gear series, what went on with Kojima, etc., etc. And then there's more people who are like, Metal Gear. I'll get that Metal Gear. But I wanted to talk about to go back to System Shock and System Shock 2. It has an interesting kind of inconsistent identity, and I say this because you reminded me of the System Shock 1 remake.
Yeah.
For anybody who's not familiar, System Shock 1 and System Shock 2 do have very different vibes to them. So it kind of feels like the remake is sort of taking the first game and trying to make it feel a little bit more like System Shock 2, but not so much mechanically exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, I used to spitball off of this because that used to be a controversial thing.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people, like the diehard System Shock 1 fans are a particular bunch, and I kind of understand their perspective. They're very much like, System Shock 1 is not System Shock 2. It has to have a different feel. System Shock 1's not a horror game. It is a action 80s movie kind of thing. Okay, now Meena, you spitball. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Hi, Deep. Hi.
System Shock 1 and 2, yeah, I would say that, like, tonally they're very different, and it's one of those things where it's kind of like interpreting Doom from 1993, where System Shock 1 it's a much older game than System Shock 2, where environments are a bit abstract, like the tone and environments are a little bit more abstract than like they are in System Shock 2, where, you know, it's like MIDI, what you could call maybe like chiptune kind of music, you know, the sound effects, the graphics, everything's super like low fidelity, where it's kind of like I said in Doom, where you can kind of leave things up to your kind of own interpretation a little bit of like what is the tone of this game exactly, to where if you're going to remake System Shock 1, it's like, well, how would you redo the music? How is the tone of it going to be? What's the what's the environment's going to look like? Or is it going to have like, you know, more like brightly lit areas like it does in the original game, or is it going to have like, you know, more dark kind of moody areas like in System Shock 2 type of thing? So I think that was kind of like what a lot of that whole kind of like buzz and kind of debate around System Shock 1 is like, you know, how should the game be interpreted? And when the game was being remade, a lot of the criticism was kind of being thrown at it was kind of like, well, you're making it a bit more like System Shock 2, where it's, you know, it's darker and more horror and atmospheric and moody and stuff like that. But it's like System Shock 1 as it is, when you go play it, it's like, it's got like really like, you know, kind of upbeat, catchy MIDI kind of chiptune music, kind of like stuff you'd almost hear in stuff like you know, like old like Doom music, or games like you'd hear like platformers like Mega Man and stuff like that, where it has like very upbeat kind of music. There's some interesting kind of moody tracks in System Shock 1. It's very weird kind of experimental MIDI tracks in that game. Let
me interject. So would you say that there was a time where video games felt that their music had to be video gamey? Like their music is video gamey music. Like you can't make a video game and it have a soundtrack like Alien. That's unheard of. So they just did things because that's how they did things back then. So if those same developers wanted to make System Shock 1 again, like they might have actually had a more horror vibe intended, something like that, right? Maybe.
Yeah, I think it's like, I'm not sure. Because it's like if you had the original devs of System Shock 1 just all get together maybe 10 years after the game came out and they like remade the game, it's like I actually don't know. I don't know what they would have done exactly. It's like, I mean, for all we know, it could have been like System Shock 2, where maybe they wanted to go like a more darker, moody kind of like vibe, like the remake kind of does basically. And I think ultimately the remake kind of compromised, where it does go a little moody with like the lighting and stuff, but it's still trying to compromise by not making it like too much like System Shock 2. It's kind of a compromise basically.
Also deep. Yeah, Meena mentioned that System Shock 2 was originally not even going to be System Shock. It was going to be Junction Point. Yeah.
Yep.
So kind of cool. That's why it's so different. And then they just like, all right, how do we make this connect to System Shock 1? Shodan. Spoiler. Shodan.
Yeah.
Yeah. And did they need to do that? I don't know. But I mean, it kind of works because I do like Shodan as a character. Also, hello, Golden.
I do like I do like Shodan. I also feel like System Shock 2's kind of villains, like I feel like the Manny stand out on their own. To me, it's like the game could have been its own game with no Shodan in it, and I feel like the Manny stand out pretty well as like a pretty cool villain as well too. But
yeah, it's cool because the Many is like the actual main villain, and then Shodan is kind of like the cameo. Like, remember me? I'm a side character now, kind of deal. Also, hello, Gleam. Hi. So I brought it up. So there were people that were very angry about the new interpretation of System Shock 1. And I sometimes think that, I feel like you could have done System Shock 1 differently. I think you could have given it a different vibe, make it feel more like an action kind of game rather than horror like they went with. And I haven't personally played the remake because I think I just lost momentum and steam for it by the time it finally came out. And then Meena played it, and I watched Meena play it, and I'm like, you know what? I think I just like System Shock 2 more, so I ended up not making time for it. But what do you think of the System Shock 1 remake now that you've had a lot of time to kind of ruminate on it? Because you've played it a bit.
I kind of feel similar about how I do about most remakes, basically, where I kind of just like the original more, basically, even though like I think it's a very commendable project. I think they did a very good job at just rebuilding the whole game basically from the ground up. It's almost completely like a one-to-one remake, aside some balance changes, and the way the game feels and moves and looks and whatnot is all different, but I do think it's a pretty cool game. But I don't feel like I'm going to find myself, if I want to play System Shock 1 again, I'm pretty sure I'm just going to play the original. I would say I might revisit the remake again, maybe after if there gets more updates and stuff like that, if more stuff gets done. I don't know if there's supposed to be a big update for it. They like redid the boss fight and stuff. I don't know if that ever came out or not, but I would be open to revisiting it again. But I like the menuing and the interface and just the retro vibes that the original System Shock 1 gives me over the remake, even though I do think the remake is like, it's good basically. But I just kind of hit the point where I think I'm kind of like remake fatigued basically with like new games. And when I backed the Kickstarter, I backed the System Shock 1 Kickstarter. To give context, I backed it in 2016, and this is well before we hit this kind of like renaissance of like just remaking games like all the time. And System Shock was a dead IP. It was like System Shock was dead in the water basically. Aside from just Night Dive basically doing a kind of Steam and GOG re-release of System Shock 2. To give further context, System Shock 2 is a game like it's one of my favorite games of all time, and the game was basically in this kind of limbo for a long time after Looking Glass collapsed. System Shock 2 was not being like published or like sold by anyone for like, I want to say a good like maybe 12 to 15 year period, somewhere around that time. But System Shock 2 did not get on the GOG or Steam, I think, until I want to say it was like 2012 or 2013 when Night Dive reacquired the rights. And I think it's the game that actually like basically upstarted Night Dive Studios. It was one of the most requested games on GOG. I do remember that. And so when I played System Shock 2, like for the first times, the game was abandonware. You could not buy it anywhere. The only way you could get a hold of the game was to buy a physical copy of the game off of eBay or something like that, or you go to a My Abandonware like site or whatever and and just download the game. You had to get fan patches, do some weird like CPU affinity to like lock it to like a single core processor, or else you would get like weird crashing and like movement physics issues in the game and whatnot. The game was basically just kind of a dead, lost, forgotten IP basically. And so when like Night Dive was remaking System Shock 1, it was kind of like, to me it was like the, oh shit, like this is the dead IP that I'm a huge fan of, and they're bringing it back with like a new game. They're gonna remake the first one. Games weren't just getting like remakes like every, like, I mean, there were game remakes, but just not really, I feel like, to the extent that
it wasn't an epidemic.
Yeah, it wasn't like a AAA game, like, just doing remake like every year for like, good games that have come out in like the past like 15-20 years basically. So that was kind of the context of like, when I like I backed the System Shock Kickstarter, and I was on the hype train. I was like super like excited whenever that happened. But that was like 9 years ago at this point, so that's a very different time than now. It's like ultimately, I feel like the System Shock remake is like, it's good basically, but I'm not crazy about it either. Kind of how I feel about most remakes.
I wanted to pick your brain a bit also about this, because I mean we talk about this a lot, remakes and stuff, because it's just happening all the time. I feel like it's kind of tricky trying to decide what a remake's worth is to us when we just prefer the original more. Because I don't want to say like RE4 remake is worthless, RE2 remake is worthless,
Yeah.
System Shock 1 remake is worthless, but it's like, well, what motivation or reason do me and Meena have in particular to revisit them? Like, it feels like we don't really get much out of them a lot of the time.
Yeah. I guess it depends on the game, basically, where it's like, I get kind of like a junk food kind of response from them where I play them, and I'm like, I don't know, it's kind of like, I just ate a McDonald's meal or something like that, where it's like, yeah, it was pretty tasty.
Okay.
But I don't think I'm going to, I'm not going to, like, remember it, like, as well as I do, like, the original, basically.
Also, I sent you something in DMs. Can you check it?
Okay.
It's like we can watch that later. It looks cool.
Yeah, I was going to respond to Gleam. Yeah, saying Prey 2017 is a better spiritual successor to System Shock 2 and Bioshock was. I agree. I like Prey more than Bioshock. I'm also not like... Prey is good as well. I'm not crazy about Prey, but I do think it's got some really cool like design executions and like concepts in that game. I think the overall game is like... I don't like it as much as System Shock 2, but I think it's a... Like, as an immersive sim, I feel like it's a damn good one, basically.
I feel like I like how we come from different walks of life, you and I, and somehow we met, and neither of us are really that into Bioshock.
Yeah.
I played Bioshock before any of the System Shock IP, but I remember, I think, if I recall correctly, I'm pretty sure Bioshock either had a commentary track where you could play through the game and interact with commentary bubbles, like Valve would do sometimes, or I watched a YouTube video and I remember them mentioning System Shock. Yeah. And I'm like, what the fuck is that? I had literally never seen any evidence of that game's existence ever. That's how, like, I guess dead it was.
Pretty obscure for a while, yeah.
Yeah. But I've played through Bioshock multiple times for like trophy reasons. And it just never grasped me, but I did like the setting and aesthetic. I don't care that it's stupid to build a city underwater. What matters is you gave me a video game where you have a city underwater. That's pretty cool, but I couldn't fully get enamored by it like everyone else was able to, and I didn't even have any bias reason for that. Whereas I think you started with System Shock and then you played Bioshock, right?
Yeah, so sorta.
Hi, Gons. Hi.
System Shock, like, I'm trying to think of the timeline here. I played System Shock when it was abandonware. Before I played Bioshock a little bit, I want to say it was like 2000. It was the mid-2000s. I don't know what year it was when the game was like already abandonware. But I remember I played a bit of it. I was very young the first time I played it. It was maybe, I don't know, I was like maybe barely even a teenager yet. And the game, System Shock 2, scared the shit out of me so bad at that age that like I couldn't do it. Like I played a bit of it and I'm like, this is too scary. I got to the engineering deck, which is like a couple hours into the game basically. And then I just like stopped playing it just out of fear, basically. I used to just get too scared to play like horror games basically. And then maybe like a couple of years later, I played Bioshock. I didn't even know it had any connection to System Shock. I just played the demo to it. I remember, I think it was on the Xbox 360. I downloaded the demo, I played a little bit of it, and I actually just quit playing the demo because I thought the game just felt bad to play. Something about the way the combat feels in Bioshock and like the movement stuff. I just remember playing it, and the game was really hyped. And, you know, I went into it with like these high expectations, and then when I downloaded the demo and played it, I'm like, oh, this game kind of feels bad to play. And so I just remember doing a couple combat encounters. I just kind of closed the demo and just was like, yeah, I'm not really interested in this game.
I also gotta clarify, I forgot to mention, I played Bioshock on console, like with a controller, and that might have added to some of my gripes with it, because I don't really like playing shooters on consoles, because even as a kid, when I played a shooter like Call of Duty 2, I would have played it on PC. So trying to play a shooter with really fast enemies on console, I just couldn't adapt. And people tell me skill issue, that nobody else ever had issue on console with that game. But I'm like, I don't know, this feels frustrating. However, that was a long time ago. Maybe if I tried it again,
I feel like Bioshock on controller would be kind of a nightmare, because the enemies are pretty fast in the game, and they jump around and get up on the ceilings and stuff like that. Like, I feel like on a controller that would be a pain in the ass. Though I would imagine there's some sort of aim assist or something. But even when I played Bioshock on PC, that game has mad mouse acceleration also. It feels very bad if you play it like natively on PC. I feel like you probably need to like get some like, you know, configuration done or something like that to get Bioshock to feel good on PC. But every time I've tried it, it's like it always feels like, no pun intended, it feels like you're aiming underwater in that game, basically.
So then, to summarize it simply, both of us technically played through all of Bioshock before we played through all of any System Shock, or at least System Shock 2, right?
No, the first time I actually finished Bioshock was actually, I played System Shock 2 for the first time all the way through. Not that I hadn't experienced System Shock 2 before, but I hadn't beaten it before. So the first time I actually beat System Shock 2, then I went and played Bioshock after.
Wait, I'm confused. What? Which game did you finish first?
I finished System Shock 2 first.
Okay. So then my initial thing was right. You did play a System Shock game before Bioshock in full completion, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so then that's the point that I was trying to get to, is that we have sort of different experiences, and yet we kind of come to the conclusion that neither of us are like overly obsessed with Bioshock. And that doesn't necessarily mean that there's proof that something's wrong with Bioshock, but there's some kind of affinity thing that we coincidentally happen to lack with it. Would you say that's like fair to say? Yeah. Now, I need to replay it to try and discover like how to properly put it into words and figure out what my real issue is. Because I tried to play it a few years ago. You were with me, and I remember just getting to a point where I'm like, oh, I don't want to play this.
You got fatigued with it. I think one of my issues in Bioshock is that like I feel like the game just feels too like inconsequential, basically, in the sense of like I don't feel like the game is punishing enough in any sort of like game design way that makes me want to like care about its combat, if that makes sense. Like, but you can just die in the game, and there's not really any like punishment in any sort of way. I don't know, just something about the way the game's overall design just feels like too. It feels just too like I don't have anything I need to like care about like long term when I'm playing the game.
Afro, have you experienced the System Shock IP? Have you fixed him yet, Meena, with the? We gotta get him into System Shock if he hasn't already. He might have already.
We have to fix him.
We gotta fix everybody. Yo, we found out that the barista that we were talking to at the coffee shop is like 19. I thought he was like a Zoomer. I thought he was 25. He is a little baby, and we gotta fix his video game taste. We could save him.
I had high vibes that they were like probably like 20 or something.
I thought they would be like 24 or something. But whenever they said 19, I'm like, oh my god, you're a baby, and I'm gonna make you play Resident Evil 4. Yes, I will fix you. He will fix you. We will fix you. Gleam said he thought Dishonored was ass in the way that we didn't like Bioshock.
I haven't really tried Dishonored, but I've never been super drawn to want to try Dishonored either. Because I don't know, something about it doesn't appeal to me in the same way that like Thief does to me. I'd probably get something out of Dishonored, but I don't think I would be in love with it.
Because Gleam seems to enjoy Bioshock for what it is. I think you should stream it one of these days. I don't think you've given Bioshock a personal chance in a really long time. It'd be kind of interesting to watch you dissect it. But I wanted to get back to a point that you were talking about earlier before I forget. The inconsequentialness of dying. Because if you die in Bioshock, you just kind of spawn at the last save, sort of like it's like a little respawn chamber, and they're pretty generous with their placement. And I wanted to ask, how did you go about playing? I don't remember if System Shock 1 has the same respawn chamber thing, how System Shock 2 does it, but I know that I robbed myself of the proper experience by using quick saving, because there is quick saving in these games. So if I literally have a mechanic that was intentionally released with the game, because I don't do save states for emulation of like old SNES games, you know, like the run to go back to Ridley to do my 5th attempt trying to fight Ridley in Super Metroid is a pain in the ass, but I don't want to use a save state to skip it all. I'm just going to experience it the way that everyone else did back in the day. But with System Shock 2, they had the quick saving as a mechanic that came with it, or so I assume. And so I did that, but that's not how that game is actually supposed to work. Can you let chat know how the spawning or respawning works in System Shock 2 and possibly 1? I don't remember if 1 does it the same.
In both System Shock 1 and 2, on every deck or level you go to, there's basically a respawn chamber that you have to locate, and you have to activate it first before you can spawn. If you die at any point before it's activated, then it just kicks you back to the menu, basically, and you have to load your previous save, basically. So there is like a fail state in the game. Once you know where they are, it's not too hard to find them and flip them on, with the exception of like a few levels in System Shock 1 and 2. There are some levels where they're pretty difficult to locate, but yeah, if you die in System Shock 2, it costs nanites, which are a pretty scarce-ish resource, where everything you do in the game costs nanites, like hacking, buying resources, dying, healing, stuff like that. All that stuff costs nanites, and I feel like they're a pretty precious resource in System Shock 2. System Shock 1, there isn't a currency, but if you die, it will respawn you, and you'll be like very low health basically in the game. And System Shock 1's actually pretty scarce on healing items, I would say. So you could technically die a bunch of System Shock 1, but it kind of sucks too, just because you lose health basically. Sets you back a bit. If you're on the hard difficulty, there's a timer in the game, so you're wasting time also. Like, time is a precious resource in System Shock 1, technically, if you're on like the max story difficulty.
Kind of feels more survival horror, like if you utilize the chambers properly instead of using the quick saving.
Yeah.
Can you turn off the respawn chamber in BioShock? I'm not sure what Gons was referring to, but if you can turn that off, BioShock,
if I was,
you should play that way.
If I was to play it, I would probably want to shut it off. It always like raises up that question too of like, you have to think about, or wonder, like, how well does the game actually work if you do turn it off? Like, did they balance this game in a way where, did they think about designing these levels under the impression that, players may not use these respawn chambers? That's always a thing, like, I worry about in games that, if they have, like, a, ultra hard mode or whatever. Kind of like how in Doom, every level is beatable, or supposed to be beatable by pistol starting. It's like, I always wonder that in games that have like super hard modes, where it's like, did they actually design this game tightly in a way where, yes, you can beat it without using this feature, basically. So I'm always a little bit wary of like modes like that sometimes, but if they are like well balanced, then I can like them too.
Yeah, you kind of in particular deal with this issue of, you like to play games on hard mode a lot, and you will choose that difficulty, or want to choose that difficulty, for your first time playing it, whereas I have a bad habit of always sticking with normal, because I don't know, I don't want any resistance, but I do want resistance. I really can and should play on hard more, but you're scared to sometimes play on hard because you don't even trust the game developers. You're like, did you actually think this through? Did you actually plan for this game to be played on hard? Like, did you balance it and make it fair, or is it just a nightmare bullshit number adjustment kind of thing you did?
I'm always dealing with like cognitive dissonance with like game difficulty options, where I'm gonna start the game and I'm like, what do I even play it on? Like, if I play normal, I might get halfway through and be like, man, my whole experience has just been too easy, basically. But then if I pick hard, I might like go through the game and be like, yeah, I don't know if you guys even play tested this on hard very well. So I'm always like at that crossroad when it comes to like difficulties. And I feel like usually I'm pretty happy with the difficulty I end up selecting in a lot of games. But yeah, there's just some games where it's like I don't know or trust these developers enough yet to like want to play it on hard mode yet.
Also, Gons confirmed that you can turn off the respawn chambers in BioShock. Wasn't there a remaster of BioShock recently? Like, if you were to play it...
Yeah, I think if you own it on PC, they had some sort of, like, new remastered version. I don't remember if it was good or not. For some reason, I feel like there was some criticism with it or something, but yeah, I'm not a BioShock, like, connoisseur, basically, so I don't know what the deal with it is exactly.
Literally, I like how even remasters, where it's the same game but touched up, a lot of them do fuck something up. They always fuck a little thing here or ruin something completely. But Night Dive remasters have been pretty good so far, like how Quake 2, I was gonna say, I was stumbling, so I wanted to say Quake 2. Oh, and Quake also, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? I wanted to mention it. I'm planning on playing the Thing PS2 game kind of soon because I want to be able to play that and then compare it to the remaster because I like to play the original versions first.
Yeah.
It was buggy on release. Okay, I'm sure they fixed it, maybe, right?
Okay. Let's go ahead and switch over to the game, get this running, because I wanna get in here and see what we're dealing with exactly.
Hell yeah. So, yeah, let's switch to the next screen, and then you can move me. You know how to do this.
Yeah.
Also wanted to, yeah, make sure you're big. Yeah, and move yourself down. No, you know how I like it. You have to have it perfect. And also, I'm like stapled to you, by the way. So if you bounce around, it might move me, which is I'm okay with that. But I thought something that we could get into is talking about our first impressions of the screenshots that we saw of the remaster, because I wasn't necessarily positive right away. Also, please don't forget to cast the game to me.
Right. All right, just give me a second. I gotta grab a bunch of things.
No problem. You gotta set it up and the OBS, etc.
Seems like the Night Dive. They've changed their audio.
I can't hear it.
Yeah, hang on.
Oh, I missed out on the audio. There's the Kex engine. Oh, they used Kex for this?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
There's the Irrational Games logo. A little loud. Yeah, I'll turn it down once we get in.
There they are, Looking Glass Studios.
Yeah, they're still here, still with us 25 years later. Oh, I didn't try to go to multiplayer. I didn't even press anything. It just kind of jumped in there. That's weird. All right, so we're it's going to be like a total biscuit type of experience where we're going to be looking at some menus for a bit.
You know, I completely forgot. It's a little bit of lore. I actually did a little tiny thing for one of the remasters of System Shock. Was it System Shock 1 or 2 that I did something for? Do you remember, Meena?
The System Shock 1.
Okay, it was 1. I literally did hardly anything. I just kind of helped with, I think, the widescreen HUD thing. Or
yeah, the widescreen version of the System Shock 1 HUD, where it's like the big, kind of like full screen, like crazy mech looking interface, basically.
I did like 5% of the work on it. What was it? Did I just add pipes or something?
Yeah, you did a little bit of detailing of like the trimming and stuff.
Oh,
I think your phone's going off also.
Yeah, I'll go look.
Okay. Okay, so yeah, first things first. Menu looks different a little bit. It's got the same like layout. The door's not locked. You can get in here. It's got a little bit extra like little stuff moving around here. Oh, that happened yesterday too. You got a telemarketer yesterday as well.
Family emergency and it's just
Okay. I had any particular issues with Bioshock Remaster. Played Bioshock 4, I even knew what System Shock was. Got soft locked in the System Shock remake. Yeah, I did get the bad ending my first go around because I didn't read certain stuff. Bad ending in Bioshock. I know System Shock remake. There's only like one ending in the game if you like get to the end of it, but you can actually. Okay, I'm guessing that you probably did the firing the laser at Earth basically without the energy shield activated, so it does an ending where you just blow the. I don't know if you blow the Earth. I think you just like laser like New Atlanta or something like that. Yeah, yeah. I love you could do that. That's also in the original game too. That you can blast New Atlanta with the mining laser. So interesting. We have like Fmod and OpenAL for the sound driver options. Not sure what all that entails between the two sound drivers, but I'm sure there's a use for it. Cool. We got. Feels very strange being as a menu, and it's got like a kind of like expansive like options here now. Dialogue subtitles, closed captions. We got like more accessibility options here. Yeah, this is interface is kind of similar, but it is a bit different here, and it's clearly also made to where this can work on consoles as well too. Oh, you can put enemy speech captions, interface captions. Just do dialogue subtitles. That's fine.
I'm returning to my body. I had to astral project, bro. Hey, so what I wanted to say is that we should talk about before we start. I'm sorry. We should talk about how the graphics looked in the original. So there's really great art direction. The colors are fantastic, very moody looking. The models themselves, though, are a bit behind the times, even when it came out. And there's a lore reason why. So you might want to refresh them on that in a bit. But I did want to say, I am worried that Night Dive might have adjusted the lighting in a way that I won't like.
Yeah.
That it might lose some of its edge and look too brightened instead of like dark. If they want to update the models, that's fine. They tend to be okay about that sort of deal. And the original models were not very great. At least the humanoid looking ones. But I do like having the option to switch to the original. And if they do change the lighting, I also would like an option to switch to the original. True preservation.
That's why I'm looking at all these like menu stuff also. I had to restart my game because it wasn't casting for some reason whenever I turned off VSync.
Okay. No problem.
Yep. Yeah, so there's actually like a technical thing in System Shock 2, like the original, where I think there was like a miscommunication between, I guess, the artists and the programmers, where I think the programmers underestimated the power of like computers at the time, basically, and told them that you need like a lower poly count for all the scenes in the game, basically, which caused them to have like lower poly character models and environments and stuff like that. But it was actually it was a miscommunication. So the game, for the time it came out, had basically just lower poly models than was actually like necessary at the time. So that was apparently like due to a communication issue. The game graphics look a little more dated than I would say contemporary games at the time for 1999. There's definitely like better looking games at the time, and that was apparently like one of the reasons why it looked like that. But the game still has like a fantastic lighting, like art direction, and sound design too, which is a huge component of System Shock 2 is just how good like the music and the sound, like just kind of core sound design in the game is. That's the thing I'm hoping in also, like this remaster is that like
controller. Yeah. Good. Sorry.
The thing that like I am, looking out for and wondering is like, will the sound like significantly different in this remaster, or is it just going to kind of sound like the old sound but maybe upscale or something? I do like I don't know. I like the old like kind of like bit crushed and like kind of lo-fi kind of way like old game sound too, so I don't know, maybe I just won't be used to hearing like these sound effects in like high fidelity basically, but I guess we'll just see.
Yeah, it'll be interesting because, well, for System Shock 1 enhanced, like, they only could do so much, right? I mean, I guess if you can kind of like
It's like
alter
low-res
things with an
sprites,
old
basically,
game,
and
like what they did with Duke Nukem whenever they like re-recorded the lines and made it like not bit crushed. That was a mistake.
to me, it's like that's an issue when you have inconsistency, where you have some audio that sounds lo-fi and then some audio that sounds hi-fi, you know, or like you have like a soundtrack that's, you know, MIDI music, but then you have like a voice recording that sounds like it was done, you know, in a modern like modern sound recording studio and super, you know, overproduced and stuff like that. Just weird inconsistencies like that is what really clashes to me, rather than if like if everything is consistently high quality, then to me it's like not as big of a deal. So hello,
Hey,
Beryl.
Has Beryl played System Shock stuff again? I do not recall.
I think he's played the original System Shock 2. I don't know if he's played the first one or the remake though.
Okay.
We got some use some modern graphical stuff. We have anti-aliasing, ambient occlusion, bloom.
Bloom, get that shit out of here. Get that shit, this disgusting garbage.
I'm gonna leave it on. I want to see it in game before I start, you know, judging it. Basically, I want to see what the game has to offer. Basically, but we have the options here, and I like the options that we can remove it. And also anti-aliasing. It's like that's what gets rid of like jagged edges, basically. But if you're playing a game that like looks lo-fi, like I like not having anti-aliasing, but since they've like remodeled and like upscaled the textures and stuff too, it might look weird without the anti-aliasing. I don't know, we'll see. But right now I don't see a lot of like, ooh, what's it like? It's not letting me scroll wheel. It's kind of weird.
Is that your mouse being broken?
No, I think it was just the menu being weird.
Oh, okay, because I think your mouse wheels tend to break, so we got to be a little bit careful about judging them for that. But no, I actually respect that you want to give their ideas a chance. Like, okay, Night Dive, you added bloom. Okay, well, let's see how you did it. Let's see if this actually looks kind of nice. And also, thank you for giving us the option to turn it off should we decide that we don't like it, because a lot of devs don't have to. They could just say, no, fuck you. You're going to accept our new vision whether you like it or not.
Yeah, so I always like having like the options, basically. I don't see here in the game and video options, like I don't see any like old graphics options also. So I'm not sure if that's like just the new graphics are just baked into this, or if you're just meant to play like the original version of the game if you want the old graphics.
Go to video.
There's just there's video mode. I don't see anything in here about old graphics.
Okay, go to controls. Is there maybe going to be a button that lets you switch between old and new?
Maybe a binding, old and new.
Because the Halo remasters do that, correct?
Yeah. I don't see.
Now that's a little bit worrying, because even Quake 2 remaster has that as an option. Has the option of
the old models, yes. Yeah. You can change the difficulty in here too. So okay, I think we've pretty much gone through all the options.
Go to game. Go to game again. Man, really?
Yeah, it's all the.
Wait, what is revert? Oh, revert just undoes all your
probably just
your settings.
Yeah.
Also, Beryl said that he tried the remake but didn't finish it. That's probably for the best, because it's not even finished.
Yeah, as far as my understanding.
So would you mark a point off? Would you mark a point off for not letting us go to the original graphics? Because I am a little bit scared.
Yeah.
What if they change the water textures and everything? I mean, technically, you can buy the original System Shock 2 on Steam still as its own separate thing, which I guess is nice.
I believe it's still there. So I like.
Hey, you know that we're gonna have to look at all this after.
Yeah, I was just taking a little glances because I like that they include like the little vault stuff. Like I always like this stuff being in the in like these remasters where you get, you know, cool. I think I have to like.
Yeah. That's iconic.
Stuff, but...
That's your wallpaper still.
Promo trailer.
Oh, 1993 trailer. Like I actually want to like experience this all right now, but I know everybody's been waiting to actually see the game. But at some point, I hope you show that. I also wanted to mention to everybody that the System Shock 2 remaster playthrough, by MeenaCrowe will not always feature me. I just insisted on inviting myself because I wanted to be there for the beginning because I'm kind of excited and I want
Yeah.
to be in Mina's face.
I've seen this screenshot before. I really like seeing this old ass like System Shock 2 interface where it looks a lot less I guess kind of like polished compared to like the final interface in the game, but it's like, I don't know, this is a nice screenshot. I like having it for comparison's sake.
By the
Look at
way,
these really fat buttons here.
Seeker said that there is a mod menu when you start a new game, so it might still be possible to adjust things.
Okay.
Should we need to?
Right,
but we do need to experience it as they
Okay.
intended, so we can compare.
I see it. So they tell you the difference between the difficulties here. Now I like this change. It's like health side points are increased, value of items are lower. Basically, my understanding also of the difficulties was always that higher difficulty just makes you start with less HP, and you basically have to spend more skill points to upgrade yourself. That's kind of all the difficulties were in the original game, basically. And it seems to be confirmed here, yeah. Normal health points, normal psi, value items normal. I usually do hard mode, that's kind of my default. I've done impossible runs in the game, but the game's really, really, really tight on impossible. So I usually like hard's kind of a comfort difficulty for me.
Speaking of, was it impossible or hard that you insisted on whenever we played multiplayer?
When we played multiplayer, it had a static difficulty that you could not change. It was always locked in, I believe, on hard. I'm pretty sure.
Okay, then that makes sense.
It's either
what
hard
happens
or normal.
with mods?
Okay, so it has a bunch of mods installed by default, basically.
Oh, it even gets descriptive. So this is just the base remaster.
Yeah. I guess you can remove. You can just remove the remaster, I guess. I thought it doesn't say what it does exactly, but
wait, what are the other ones?
So
are some of these community made ones?
This is the shut up. Yes, this is the texture upgrade project. This is what makes all the textures higher resolution, basically.
Okay, what's the next one?
400.
Higher resolution terrain textures.
Terrain textures. So I think
True
shut
color
up is...
images at 400%. Shut up. What the?
I'm trying to see, like... Because this one says it's terrain textures. Leaves most object skins untouched. You look at something in a game and a description if a string appears in the HUD, you're looking at object. Which is for shut up. Everything else is likely for 400. Okay, so this is like 400. I guess it covers some of the things that shut up just didn't cover in the texture update. SCP, yeah, this is the Shock community patch. It's the one that it kind of like has some like gameplay balance stuff, I'm pretty sure, and like some quality of life changes, I believe, is what SCP. I don't remember all the things that SCP does. I do know it like adds like a few rooms here in the game.
I'll be right back.
Okay. SCP include RST, all that. Yeah, I was gonna actually get into that. It's been a long time since I played SCP. I remember SCP having some cool stuff in it. Like I remember I think it's like the captain's quarter when you get to the bridge, for like Kerenchkin's room. I remember like that being SCP, which I thought was cool, but I don't really remember what all else it does. But yeah, I remember liking yeah, there's Rosso dudes, like the RSD gameplay kind of patches. It's like an alternative, I think, to SCP. And his like scary monsters patch as well, where it changes like enemy behavior and like just kind of general gameplay balances. I remember liking. I think I liked RSD's changes a bit more than like the SCP one. The SCP patch is outdated. Oh, so this is on 6. So the official one that's like you can download on their sites on 7. So this is like on an outdated one. Interesting. And then there is patch extension.
It's gone.
Yeah, I don't know what this is.
This is pretty cool. And this makes it easy to where you can add more mods, correct?
Yeah, I would assume so, because it says install mods and there's like a blank spot for available mods. So I assume you could probably include new ones. It'd be cool, yeah, if RSD gets his like running on the remaster, I feel like I would want to play like this version with like the RSD changes.
Oh.
I like the scary monsters mod, and his kind of gameplay overhaul mod was really cool as well. Added like a lot of like
he was worried, right? About like
yeah, I
it
saw him on
not
Twitter.
working?
I think he was worried that like it's not gonna work like out of the box, basically.
So you're gonna play with just everything installed?
Yeah,
Which I think is
we're just gonna
fine.
do the default. Doesn't work out of the box. That's not really surprising. I think my favorite change that the RSD version did was the expansion on the little battery things. I don't know what you call them. They're batteries that you like use to like power up like doors or like power up the electrical junctions that like power your energy weapons and stuff. And that there are several new ones in the game where you had to make decisions about like which ones you're going to power up, basically. And it would like open up like, you know, new shortcuts or like, you know, give you like a power station in like a room that normally like doesn't have it and stuff. I thought that was a really cool addition in the RSD gameplay mod. All right, start the game.
Look at you, hacker.
We're gonna have a upscaled or we're gonna have a redone intro. Quake 2 Remaster actually redid the intro as opposed to just being an upscale.
How can you challenge
Hey Mog, how's it going?
immortal machine?
Hi, Mog. Hi. Is the game too loud for you guys? Mina, did you ever end up adjusting it for
I did
everybody?
turn it down. I think they redid this also.
Mog, the original actually had online co-op too, but it was kind of jank, so it didn't work very well. Augmented said it's really loud. I think you should start over because we want them to be able to hear this and us.
Destined to inherit the earth.
Okay. Let me just skip this in. I don't know.
How loud are we talking, you guys?
I don't know if
Oh.
cutscene audio is going to be. I don't know if it's going to be affected in here, but I'll turn it down a bit here.
True.
Because it sounds pretty quiet here.
Machina.
Because our problem with
Thank you for
cutscenes in games
lurking.
is that they're usually like their audio is not affected by your like master volume for whatever reason.
Oh, we
which
don't
I
want to
could-
continue. Oh no,
Oh, in-game.
ends? Oh, okay. I was like, wait, what do we do?
Okay.
Look at you, hacker.
I feel like it's not
Is
affected.
this okay?
Pathetic creature of meat and
If it's loud, we'll just shut up.
panting and sweating as you
Thank you,
run through
Mog,
my
though.
corridors. How can you challenge a perfect immortal machine?
When the music starts, then you'll know how loud it is.
Oh, they said it sounds fine.
Okay, I guess it is affected.
Okay, but we might have to adjust it if the end game is kind of bad, because
In-game might be
there's not
quiet.
really many cutscenes in this
In
game.
2072, a rogue artificial intelligence known as Shodan lost her mind.
Wait for System
in her
Shock
limitless
3.
imagination,
Yo, it's coming, you
The
guys.
Tencent
As a
System
goddess.
Shock.
destined to inherit the earth.
It's Tencent because it's gonna be a 10 out of 10, you know.
Yeah.
I fucking love this song.
Yeah, you heard like a whole 2 seconds of it.
Military, science, consumer.
February 3rd is the day the magic happens. The Von Braun, the first starship in history capable of traveling at faster than light speed, will undertake her maiden voyage. This incredible journey is the result of teamwork.
System
between
Shock
the UN
3 got
and
announced like around
the
like
incredible
10-ish years
scientific
ago,
minds
and
of
then
the newly relicensed
it's pretty much
Trioptimum
vaporware
Corporation.
at this point.
Imagine being able to travel to distant star systems in a period of weeks. It's
Oh yeah,
all part of
Ricardo
Triumph's
has like
commitment to the future.
changed
The Von Braun is
that
packed
song
with over
forever.
1.8 billion flight, scientific,
Oh yeah, the
and
original like
security
System Shock
systems,
1 theme.
nearly all developed by Trioptimum
Yeah,
and
the
its wholly
remake,
owned
the remade
subsidiary.
version that they did of
Yeah,
it though.
yeah.
Providing security for the Von Braun as she plows through the heavens will be the UNN
Oh,
Rickenbacker.
I can
At
see
her
the new
helm
model
will be no less than
faces,
Captain
kind of.
Yeah.
They look
Edward
better,
Diego
don't they?
himself, hero of the Battle of Boston Harbor during
Thank
the
you
Eastern
for
States
sharing
Police
that
Action.
on Twitter, Barrel. They must
This
be
incredible
reminded.
union of government and
That's the
corporation
best
made
Ricardo
possible by
meme
an
of all
intricate series of
time.
docking mechanisms that will allow the
That's a
Rickenbacker to
classic.
piggyback its way into jump space. Sleek, fast, revolutionary. Who knows what wonders await our crews in the bosom of the cosmos? All we
So,
know
is this
that it is a
straight up
great day
remade,
for
or-
I think, yeah, I don't think this is an upscale. I think they actually remade these cutscenes.
Also, I've only played through the whole game like once fully, so my memory is not as good as Mina. So I will literally ask dumb questions like, "Is this how it initially was?" when it's like clearly like too advanced or something like that. I'll fuck up a bit. Oh, do you think they redid the character portraits? Oh, please don't.
Yeah, I like that there were like illustrations in the original game.
Yeah, and they redid them all in the System Shock 1 enhanced, right? Or was that just the remake? That was the remake. That was the remake. I'm stupid.
Yeah.
They didn't have portraits in the first one, I don't think. Right? No, they were sketches?
You're talking about the little portraits for the audio logs, right?
Yeah, in System Shock 1.
In one they were photographs of like the developers basically in System Shock 1.
Okay.
Okay, so out of the box, yeah, this looks different. Like immediately, and we got the upscaling patch and stuff like that. But I'm noticing like lighting differences here. Like, for example, look at like.
And I'm sensitive to that. I like my lighting. I like my water.
Yeah, like stuff like this here. Like I think there's a little bit more detail in the lighting in the environments. I feel like.
Are you able to quickly, like, can you, like, walk around and then are you able to quickly switch to the old style? Like, remove the mod? Or does it not work that way?
I'd probably have to, like, start anew.
Okay, then don't worry. Oh, hi, Malphus, hi! So, does it feel like it's lost saturation or deepness at all? Because that's my main concern.
Also, thank you for the raid, Malphus. How you doing? I'd say, like, I'm going to turn up the in-game volume also. I think it's kind of quiet.
Yeah. You might want to go even higher. Well, actually, no, there's only soundscape right now. There's no music. I'll wait and see how it sounds when there's music. Because I have my headphones on, like, max volume.
I feel like I don't know, my footsteps sound, like, really quiet to me. I feel like it's still too quiet. Do like here.
Alright, once the music kicks in, and it certainly does kick in, we'll have to have chat give us feedback. Yeah. I'm pretty certain they wouldn't have changed the music at all. We are big fans of this soundtrack because people say that they get fatigued by it, and I kind of get it because it's very energetic music, and not everybody listens to energetic music now that I think about it. A lot of people listen to chill shit. So when you have this horror game and it has like drum and bass, like I kind of get why some people wouldn't like it, but it's a very
like
balanced soundtrack. Yeah, it has a balanced soundtrack, and then eventually you get to points where the music's very creepy, very eerie, and I like that. I like that. You think any AI shit went into this, or do you think it was legit?
Not sure. I was gonna say, it's like if you deeply asked if you jump off the rail, leave the world behind. If you jump down there, you die. Like, but you can actually jump down there, which I think is cool. Originally, my understanding is that this area right here is actually inspired by Half-Life, because Half-Life came out a year before System Shock 2, and that tram opening, I think, inspired them to, like, make this kind of, like, tram area right here that you start in the game. Also, a new thing I'm noticing here, too, we got some kind of fog kind of effect going on here, like, in front of the light. That's new. That was not in the original, so we got some little like, atmospherics kind of going on. And also the lighting here, specifically, I'm noticing, like, there's this kind of look of, like, lighting coming through the grating right here. I feel like this is baked-in lighting. It doesn't look real-time to me.
Which is nice, because I liked baked-in lighting.
Yeah.
So I don't want it to look like blurry, gloomy mess. And so far, it seems, like, fine. Like, it's not really offended me at the moment.
Yeah. It's like, I think the original game had... I'm pretty sure there was, like, a steam here, but I don't think it was this pronounced. Or it might have just been the sound of steam here. But yeah, I feel like the colors and whatnot like look pretty close to the original. There's definitely a bit more busyness with like the textures and whatnot. But I feel like the lighting it's pretty
Step into the
pretty close
to proceed to the street
but
level.
Is geometry the same?
Geometry looks pretty much the same to me, I want to say.
Now, in the original release, would you say, because I know the model fidelity, I don't know if fidelity is the right term, the models were kind of underdone because of like what you explained earlier. What about architecture and architecture and furnishing and stuff like that? Was that behind the times or was that fine?
I'd say the architecture stuff, I would say it's like still kind of like, I'd say
blocky?
normal. It's a little blocky, but I'd still say it's kind of to be expected still around that time. for like
And to
geometry.
re-perspectivize, when this game came out, what else came out? You said Half-Life came out a year before it.
Yes,
What
Half-Life
else?
would have been a year before System Shock 2. 99 would have been like Resident Evil 3. Excuse me. Resident Evil 3 on the PlayStation 1. Dino Crisis on the PlayStation 1. Let me think of PC games. I can't really think of a lot of
Yeah.
PC games in 99.
Let me Google that since you're playing
Sin,
PC games.
like Sin would have came out around the same
1999.
time as Half-Life as well.
Okay,
Quake
Unreal
3.
Tournament,
Yeah, Quake 3 and Unreal Tournament would have been out.
Command and Conquer, Tiberian Sun, although that's like a different genre. I'm just naming random things at this point.
I'm
but in
noticing
terms
there's
of,
some
like,
new kind of material rendering here too. If like the glass here, they have like we actually have like
Oh!
cube maps in the game now. This kind of like fake reflection
Yeah.
kind of going on. Excuse me.
Yeah, they didn't have any shininess. Like Windows and stuff didn't have any shine into
Yes,
them. Shadow
everything
Man.
is just-
Shadow Man came out 1999 too.
Everything in System Shock 2 was just kind of like either transparent like this here,
You'll want to learn some basic
but there wasn't any
abilities.
like specular
First,
or
you
like
should go into the
cube map
basic
kind of
training center. When you're done with
layers
basic
on any of the
training, proceed to
materials in the
advanced
game.
training area.
Be right back.
Okay, UNN starts with you.
To pick up, welcome trainee. While you're in our virtual
Thanks, we can
training
see the new
courses, we
upscaled
provide you with
HUD
a
here.
simulated cyber interface. This training interface is identical to an actual military-grade cyber interface.
It was weird
Now let's
playing this
try
with
it out.
subtitles.
Currently, you should be able to look around freely. That means you're in shoot mode. Now, press the switch mode.
I always really
This
liked
puts you in use mode.
ability
where
to
you can
go from,
access
like,
your
your
inventory and interact
mouse
with
look,
items in the
first
world.
person mode. You hit
can
tab
also
and you immediately
access
have
various
this
MFDs,
you know,
or
instantly
multifunction display
mouse
screens
mode where you
from
have all these
within use
interfaces, all
mode.
these things you can click
Open
on. I
up
really
your
love the
character
interface in this
MFD
game.
by selecting
There's
the
all these
body
different
icon
things
located
you got
at
your
the
map.
bottom of your screen, or
Got this where
by
you can
cycling to it within use mode.
identify items,
The character MFD
got
displays
your
your
audio logs
strengths and
here,
abilities pertaining to
emails,
different
notes,
skills.
etc.
When you're ready to continue, press the switch mode
Stats.
button to go back to shoot mode.
Your different
Try
skills if you
changing
go like a
between
side
use
build.
and shoot modes until you get the hang of it. To pick up an item,
I
first
really like the
highlight it by
seamlessness
centering it in
of
your view.
like looking around and
To
just going
interact
straight
with
to your
objects like
interface.
buttons, to interact with objects like buttons and computers,
This is the button.
highlight them by
It always looked like a
centering
Dr.
them in your
Mario
view
pill
and
to me.
pressing the interact button. Similar to items, all usable objects will. To
I wish
interact-
this object
to
here
interact
had like a
with
little
objects like
animation or
buttons
something when
and
you pressed it.
computers,
I think that would have been
highlight them
cool.
by center. The item you see here
Cool
is a
new
med
feature
high
to
button.
Well,
do.
what?
See
What has
the
an
crate in front of
animation?
you?
Well,
I'll say it
You
would have
can
been
search
cool maybe
crates
if like
and
this
other
button
similar
here
containers for items
would
by
have
highlight.
like
See
like
the
a little
crate in front of
animation
you?
for like
You can
activating or
search
something, like they
see
can
the
push it or
crate in front of
something.
you?
Oh.
You can
I would've
search crates
appreciated
and
that.
other similar containers. One of the most important tools you have as a soldier is your person. Now it's time to learn about
There we go.
jumping and man.
Our basic training done. I did everything.
Pick up some basic skills you'll need to
Yeah,
get
it's very
by in
like
the
playing
service.
it, seeing
Enter
like
this Cyberlink
you know these
booth.
kind of like specular
Inside,
lighting.
you'll
It's
learn
so
the
like
basic skills you'll
foreign
need to
to me.
get
It feels
started.
weird seeing it. Also, here's the
Now,
bloom
do you
here.
like
I feel like the
do you
bloom.
like specular lighting?
I feel like the bloom here is also subtle enough to where it doesn't bother me. Specular lighting, I feel like it's again like with bloom. I think it's subtle enough where it doesn't really offend me, basically. But I do think it's something that can be gone like overboard. Like if every single one of these walls here had like that kind of sheen onto it, I think it would look a little distracting, basically. But they're using it kind of subtly here on like, you know, these like paper kind of like posters here that might have like a gloss to them or something.
If you've completed basic training, you're ready for the advanced. Here's
I'm
where
gonna
you
skip the
make your
training, so
choice, soldier.
I've gone through the training
Here's
so
where you
much.
enlist in one of the 3 branches of the military.
I think these
Once you
windows are
decide
new
on your
here
branch
also.
of service, there's no going back. A shuttle will take you to a UNN orbital space station where
These
you'll
are now
receive
higher,
a briefing regarding your yearly
Higher
postings.
frame little spinning
Good luck.
animations here. In the original game, these are like really choppy, like low frame animations here.
Did that animate before?
I think it did. I'm pretty sure there was flashing lights like this in the original, but I don't think it looked as like. If you look at the lighting in the original game, it's a lot more. You'll see kind of like hard edges on the lighting because it's like lower resolution, basically.
Also, did the floor have specular lighting? Because it feels like everything that I see has some kind of shimmer to it instead of having a kind of matte feel to it.
Some textures have it, but some don't. Because like this doesn't have it. I'm not seeing any here either. I feel like these reds are a little more saturated in the original. I don't remember if there's a blinking light in this room, but anytime there was like blinking red lights in the original, I'm pretty sure it was like a more deep, kind of saturated red. Also like the Earth skybox here.
Welcome to Space Station Wake Island, Marine. So, you survived basic training at Camp Lejeune. Better still, you managed to learn a thing or two about standard weapons. But now, it's time for the real deal. Your tour of duty will consist of 4 postings over 4 years. The Corps demands a lot of you grunts, but the Corps
They always
is
liked in
generous.
System
You
Shock
get
2
to
is
choose
these
your
use
yearly.
of
You get to choose your own
kind of
postings.
color flats, basically,
Head up to the
where
shuttle base
there's a
in the
lot of
center
just
Wake
like
Island, and you'll be briefed on
objects
what's
in the
ahead.
world where they just have
When
like
you
these
find the
just
right
solid
posting,
like flat
head into that bay to
colors like
accept
this,
the
where it's just a
assignment.
solid blue.
Good luck, Marine.
You look here, like, you know, these
There-
like these little lights here. It's just a solid like white. It's a solid blue.
Oh yeah. But there's definitely is like a little bit of a bloom surrounding it, but kind of subtle. Like even
Yeah.
on the blue lines you were just looking at.
You only really notice it when you get like really close up to it. I'm noticing these. See, these like the green and the yellow. This used to be a flat as well, but now they've added like a little bit of like it looks like a little glass like light now, where there's kind of like
Yeah.
almost like a scan line look on it. This used to just be like a flat, like a color flat, like the blue I was talking about as well.
Am I crazy for feeling like overall this picture is quite brighter? I do know that the actual space station or whatever is different, but this area looks a lot more brighter than I remember it.
Maybe it might be a little brighter. I'm
There's
not
a lot
100%
of
sure.
bloom going on, bro. No, I'm not offended yet. I'm not offended yet.
Yeah. It's in a lot of these like kind of like spotlighting areas like here. So we're gonna go Marines because that's usually what I do. I like to get my level 1 laser pistol like immediately. Okay, this is new here. This information terminal here. I think they're in the original game. I don't think there was a info terminal in here. I think they just like put this thing here for you to like read. That's kind of cool. And usually these things
Yeah,
are like
was-
they're things you interact with, and then it makes like an interface pop up. But here you just kind of read it like on the texture itself.
Wait, are they all gonna be like that?
I don't know. I guess we'll see. Well,
Water
thank you.
redeem. I mean, if they do that, I guess you could just there would be a button to let you scroll down a bunch of text, right?
Yeah. But
If you're partial to spending time with a lot of high
yeah, what I think what I
explosives,
what I
this
like
posting is for you.
about this
There's
here
a lot of heavy lifting, but
is that
also
in
gets
the
first
original
bag of
game,
booze and other goodies
you
coming
walk up
aboard
to
the
these
supply
3
ship
spots
Gallo.
here,
Lock and load.
and it's like, okay, here's strength, here's agility, here's endurance, basically. But they don't tell you what these stats do. At this point, you just, I guess maybe you need to read the manual or something like that to like know what they would do. But if you don't have the manual, then you would just, you know, here's strength, endurance, agility. What do they do? I don't know. Just pick one. But now this thing being here, it actually tells you what it does. You know, agility is movement speed, fall damage, weapon kickbacks, endurance is health, strength is melee damage, inventory space. So I like that they've added this here. I don't think this was here in the original, like at all. This little screen here.
I don't think so either because you would
No.
always have to tell me
Maybe.
what does
If
what.
you're partial to spending time with a lot of high explosives, this
Strength.
posting is for
Melee is strong.
Yeah, this is redone. This doesn't look like how I remember it looking.
And I always loved like when you do this beginning of the game, it's kind of like you're rolling like, you know, like a tabletop game character where it's like here's your career and you have a background, or it's like, oh, what did you do during these first like, you know, 3 years in your career in like, you know, the Navy or the Marines or like the OSA agency or whatever, and based on what, you know, what places you want to be stationed at then gives you these little like background like kind of flavor text basically that explains, you know, what did you do over the year and, you know, what stats you gain as a result of it. It feels very like you're
Tabletop?
yeah, it feels tabletop. You're rolling a character, which I love that element here. This is not a thing in System Shock 1 like at all. Here's weapons training, tells you basically what weapons training does, and then cybernetic affinity, because that's like your options here. let's see.
A tour of duty aboard the Antigua should
Energy
let you
weapons,
pick up some
yep.
one-on-one
They
beam
don't-
weapon training from Gunnery Sergeant
Let me
Malloy.
see if- let me see if
But
it
heads
says
up,
anything.
she's a world-class SOB.
Okay, that's all they say. So that they don't tell you. So if you get the energy weapons here, that you start with a laser pistol. That's a thing. If you go Marines and get energy weapons, you do get to start with one.
Dummy.
And I think if you
The
go
automated-
standard, you get a
Dummy
pistol.
Andy.
If you go heavy, you get a
The
grenade
automated
launcher. I'm pretty sure
Tour
that's
of
how it
duty
works,
aboard
but
the Antigua
I like
should
to
let you
get
pick up some one-on-one
some
beam
affinity,
weapon
and I
training
like to get that laser pistol like ASAP. So laser pistol comes in handy in the engineering bay. Beam weapons. I feel like there might be. I don't know. Yeah, like see how there's like a glass up there and there's like a guy like walking up there. I feel like they've added like a little bit of extra like detail geometry. I don't think that was a thing in the original game. These textures in the original.
Was there really much scripted like stuff like that?
There's a little bit like yeah, I've seen this robot like dancing here. I'm pretty sure that's in the original game. So I know I've seen that in the original game. I've just never really like stopped to like look around too much. I do know like that there was oh, they're actually letting you go like all the way back here too. I'm surprised they let you do this. There's definitely a lot of extra, like, you know, and the textures are like a little more animated, kind of more busy looking, so makes it feel a little like the game feels a little more lively, I want to say. The original game too, the textures were like they had like a posturized look to them too, which you don't really get here now because we don't have like limited like texture palette anymore, color palette.
Police Trading Station. The UNN Secretary General's office needs a full staff of armed guards. When things are dull, it requires...
Maintenance. That's probably cutscene's gonna be loud again, I think.
It'll be awesome though.
Yeah. I'll just let it play out. So
Okay.
like when the music and voices come in, it's gonna be freaking loud. It's a year 4, so you do your 3 like optional years, and then year 4 is like, oh, what job you getting? Oh, you got the job now to go on the Von Braun, basically. And I like the flavor text because it's basically implied like your character's already gone through like some shit basically before the beginning of this game, like on the Von Braun.
So this is on for 5 seconds again, right?
Now you hear the song played out a bit longer here.
Yes. Is this all done new too?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, this wasn't initially widescreen, right?
Yeah, it's 4x3.
Or was it? It was. Okay. So wait, 4x3, does that mean that it would have had the black bars?
Yes, would have been like a little box.
Hey, the model still looks kind of faithful, sort of. Like, obviously you could tell
Yeah.
that they touched it up. So now might hit pretty decent. Oh, you know what I wonder? Do you think that they might add more variety to the dead bodies that you find around?
Restoring patient memory. Restoring.
It's like baby. That'd be kind of cool. There's like more like unique dead bodies.
What if, I'm curious if they have like more variants to the many as well, because the many, like, they all just look the same, like with the grunt
Oh, the hybrids,
ones.
yeah.
Yeah.
Steady yourself, soldier.
Doesn't
This is
Blade's
Dr. Janet
fashion
Polito of the
practically look
computer
like
ops
this
staff
too?
of the Von Braun. Your
That's
Well,
where
not
JC,
exactly,
JC
but-
Denton
You're
looks
recovering
like
from the
Blade's
intensive
fashion.
surgery and will be unable to remember any of the events of the last few weeks. You're on board the starship Von Braun and something's gone very, very wrong. Some kind of force has hijacked this ship. That's why you volunteered to be implanted with some experimental cybernetic implants. Rely on your cyber interface. It just might save your life. You must find an elevator and come up to Deck 4 to meet me. Deck 4. Can you remember
Was
that?
the glasses
But
style
keep your eyes
inspired
open.
by
They're after us both now.
Ado or whatever his name is from Ghost in the
I guess
Shell.
on Shelly, yeah, maybe, or just maybe just general,
Bato.
or just general like
Although
cyberpunk kind of stuff from like the 80s
his
would.
his was different because he just had like floating glasses circles on his eyes.
Yeah.
It's become unstable due to move.
Colors still seem nice.
Yeah. Scripted sequence here with the radar comes over. Rich still on one. The movement, I will say, like the movement and the bobbing, it feels a little bit different than how it feels in the original game. Like, I can't fully describe it, but like I feel like there's a little more like movement, like whenever I like start and stop, and I don't know how I feel about it right now.
Is FOV the same, by the way?
Roughly, yes. It seems about the same.
Okay, so it's not pulled back out or anything? Can you queue up a swing, like a heavy swing? Okay, I was just curious.
Throw a secure airlock before you're sucked into space. Move it!
There was one mod where something was like hidden up on top of this.
Is
thing
that
up
what's
here.
going on? Is that what's going on? It feels like any room that you're in that has more fluorescent light sources make the room look a little bit more fluorescent. I don't know if I'm just crazy, but I feel like this room looks a little bit brighter than it was in the original. I know this doesn't matter to normal people.
Oh.
I'm just pointing it out. I'm
Well, the
just
thing is that
saying.
there's
like,
more-
that's the difference.
There's more like clear shadow kind of distinction going on, where like there's a red light coming from here, and you can see that this object here is now casting a shadow from the red light here, whereas before it was just, I think the whole room would just be casted red basically. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Also, I think Mina tried something with VSync, but it caused an issue.
I turned it off. I turned VSync off.
Okay.
It's more of like the
Can
way
we look at the blood splatter?
the way the bobbing looks. It just feels a little different. There's blood splatter. It looks like an upscaled version of like the old blood here, basically.
What is up with the little splatter on the
This?
left?
It's this is
kinda
like a
weird.
it's like a shotgun bullet holes. That was a texture version
Oh,
of it, too.
okay. Wait, is that why it's weirding me out? Because it's like, it's supposed to be bullet holes, but now that the lighting is different, you can tell that it's actually a texture and not holes inside. Does
Yeah.
that make sense? Like, go up closer to it. It feels like I'm seeing shininess over them.
Yeah, I kind of see what you mean.
Yeah, it's
like
it's
a
a little bit
decal.
weird. Yeah, I
Also
thought it was
curious-
like blood because it looks like it's is it indented or outdented? What's the term?
Turn off anti-aliasing. I'm just curious if it changes anything. Also, if it looks
Not
different.
really.
Okay, yeah, I just see a little bit of jaggies on the edges with no anti-aliasing, but I'm also running this game at like 2K resolution, so you're not really going to see that much of a difference with the offer on.
So far, it looks good.
Yeah. You can still type it in, keypad-wise.
Does System Shock 2 have the infamous code, or is that only in System Shock 1?
It's in this 45100 in this game.
Okay. Also, does animation look kind of the same? Animation
Yes.
looks kind of similar, where
think-
it's like very slow, floaty movement.
I think they still have everything rigged on the same skeletons, so it's the same animation.
Okay.
Please move immediately to cryo recovery B. Decompression event imminent.
I feel like a lot of people can handle that. They'll think, oh my god, it's so
This power cell
retro.
is dead. There should be a recharger nearby. Just use it and it will recharge
I saw this in a
all the
video.
power
I'm not a
to the
huge fan of
devices
this,
in your possession.
but
After you've recharged the cell,
you can see that I picked up the cell,
auxiliary power unit.
I charged up
That
here,
should
and I
open
just
the
right-clicked here, and it
airlock door.
immediately it takes it out of your
The
inventory
vacuum seals won't hold up much
and
longer.
puts it right here, basically. Where originally you had to click and drag and put it in there like that. And it's like I like the kind of click and drag like type of like interacting with like things in the world.
Mina, sweetie, that's called that's tedious. Okay, that's bad, Mina. Having gameplay is bad. We should
Yeah.
have it to where the gameplay's itself, John.
I like that there's like a little like animation now on these also whenever you recharge. That was previously just you would recharge, there'd be no effect or anything. It would just tell you that your shit's
Good.
recharged.
You've managed to get out before the whole area depressurized. I've just uploaded you some cybernetic modules. You can use them to upgrade your cybernetic rig at the upgrade units in this area. There are 4 types of units in the next room, one for each subsystem of your cybernetic gear. Stats, psi, weapons, and tech. But use the modules carefully. They're hard to come by.
Interesting. So the gun's like two-handed now.
Looks
It used to be-
smoother, rounder.
Yeah, it's definitely a higher poly model. He holds it with two hands, and now there's like, see when I look up and down, like, it kind of like moves. It's almost like Half-Life 2, where it's like it kind of changes.
What,
like
you mean
how
where the
far.
camera does a weird warp kind of thing?
Not the warp. Like, look at the position of the gun. There's kind of like a camera lag, basically, and also like where your pitch of your camera is will change like how close it is to the camera as well. It's kind of a cool little detail there.
So in the original, he was just holding a pistol one-handed, right?
Yeah, every gun's one-handed in the original System Shock 2. I wonder if I can climb up this thing. In the original, you could kind of like clip inside of this spot right here, which is kind of janky and funny. I don't think I can now though.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I think they fixed this glitch here. I can clip inside this thing though.
Well,
Yeah, I think
night
I
dive, step your game up.
I have to actually.
Is
do the
reloading the
platforming.
same?
I assume so, but all I have is an energy pistol, which does not reload. It only recharges at energy stations.
All right. Then we'll find out soon enough.
How soon it's probably the same, but we'll see. Maybe they'll have
I
actual
can definitely
animations now.
tell where the bloom is. Like, I can definitely tell, like, with the boxes and stuff like that. It's a lot brighter than it used to be.
Yeah. I'm curious, like, it seems like weapons are still hotkey the same. Like, wrench is on 1, energy pistol still 5. Is this code still... Yeah, still a bunch of zeros.
Oh.
Which normally
Mina's
you're...
given the cheater experience because they remember too much.
Normally you're supposed to, like, hack. It's like the hacking tutorial on this thing, but there's also, like, a code you can just, like, input there. So we're at 4. We got, like, no modules yet. It's fine.
Did that have an animation like that originally? I think it did.
But this,
Right?
like, the kind of light blinking stuff
No,
here.
no. When you were examining the terminal.
Oh,
Like
this
that?
is one of the mods. I know, like, SCP or something, like, adds these mods. I'm pretty sure.
Okay. Oh, can you examine all the items? They're supposed to all have bios.
Yes. And then there's, like, a
They
little
update
3D
that.
model.
So it's all still the same. Okay.
It seems like, yeah, it's still like the same flavor text. Like that you can kind of look at these objects and yeah, they've like remodeled like all these like props and stuff, which I think is cool. They're like higher poly.
Do they have more geometry, not just
Yes.
flat box with texture slathered on?
you
That's
can
kind of
you
cool.
can see like little like indentations and stuff kind of sticking out of them. Like they're very high fidelity in comparison to how they used to be. Dr. Mario pill. So if you get the little ghost cutscene here. Hang on.
Can somebody let me out? I can't find my card. Please.
They have like the characters like mouth movement now. Like they actually rigged them to do that.
Is I imagining it, or did it look like his eyes were closed?
They looked closed, yeah.
I wonder if it's like a ghostly hologram kind of deal.
Maybe. Little detail there, like when you break the glass, like there's kind of shards around here. That's pretty cool.
That's cool. Yo, I can't wait to see the water. Are we gonna get to the water soon? You know how much I love water.
Yeah, we'll see.
The scan lines that they do is like cool. I mean, I know it's
I
not
like
scan
that.
lines. It makes me think of headlights.
Yeah, I can see that.
That line geometry they got. Yo, jump over and get that thing. You'll get
Yeah,
that
it's a
thing.
little tricky.
Oh,
jump
did I
here. Yeah,
did I ask you properly? Are you going to be using the terminals properly, or are you going to be quick saving? You're good at the game, so.
Yeah, I'll like save here and there, basically, like for like, you know, emergency, basically. Damn it.
I think you should quick save for this jump because it's so
Yeah.
finicky.
Yeah, I feel like to me, like movement feels something feels a little different to me.
Oh, did it do that thing where you get to the edge and even though you jump and you feel like you should have been able to do a last-second jump, it actually counts as you sliding off?
Like you're already like in like a downward slide where you can't jump because of the slope, basically. Because I feel like this surface here, it's not actually a surface. Yes, you just slide through that, basically. That's what's happening.
Did they know that they would break the game and make it to where you can't get that item now, or do you have to go back and get the psychic shit or something? Can you, whenever you get deep in the game, are you able to backtrack this far?
Yeah. Oh yeah, you can always come back here. You can. Yeah,
okay, then maybe that's why they do it. But for sure, movement does feel different too, right?
Yeah, because I used to get up here by I would basically just climb from below, basically, but they made it where you can't climb that anymore, so it makes it where you have to actually like make this jump now, which with the sliding is very difficult to do. But I think you're meant to use either like the Psi ability to pull that, or like have high agility, basically. It's where you can actually jump in. I don't think I have like the agility to do it. Now I'm not taking fall damage because I think I'm like hitting like I'm like sliding off edges and shit, basically.
I say don't worry about it then, if they changed it.
I'll put a point in agility. Oh, there we go. It's like, I don't know what, something about the movement feels weird to me. It's like, I feel like there's like momentum or something that's like not there or that like wasn't there in the original, where when I
do you mean move, like inertia? Is it inertia?
there's some inertia that's here that like I'm not used to. It feels weird. There we go.
Okay.
Like I feel like
save so you don't have to do that again.
Kind of like
also, what are those seams that I keep seeing? Is that like texture seams? Like go to the top? Yeah, like all those. Are those lights? What are those things?
Oh, those are just like, it's just little trims on the textures.
Oh, okay. Is contrast higher? Am I just bugging? What's going on? No, it's the light sources. I gotta remember it's the light sources. It's all baked in. It looks like they use the sharpen tool to sharpen the floor texture.
Yeah.
Like whenever I use the sharpen tool, it kind of inadvertently creates like those highlights that you're seeing around the dark edges. Yeah. Does that make sense? And it can give an artificial look at times. I don't mind it too much, but I don't know if it was always like that. It could easily be an intended texture thing too, to make it pop or look rounded.
I'm trying to figure out like if my character's hitbox is like different or something, because I feel like, see, when I get near the edge of this slope, see how I kind of hang off like the side? It makes me feel like I'm like a capsule as opposed to like a box, basically. And I don't know in the original if you're a hitbox or if you're a hit capsule, basically, which might be contributing to the weirdness that I'm like feeling, basically.
It doesn't make it bad, but definitely different for veterans. Oh shit. This still looks great. Now make sure you tell everybody how the melee in this game works, because some people here are new.
I was gonna say is that I'm going to probably, after playing this, I might go boot back up the original just to have like a direct comparison.
Right.
To see like the weird things I'm feeling, if like I can kind of better understand what exactly is going on, basically.
Definitely, because like this isn't like a normal playthrough. This is literally like studying too. And you've streamed this before, so
that's all good. Reconstruction device. Xerxes shut them all down, but I've discreetly put them back online. You'll need to
also, can you guys hear the music good?
To provide a quantum entanglement sample. Once you do that, the device will be able to rebuild your body essentially from scratch.
Fair.
It's not pleasant, but it's preferable to slow decomposition.
His face, look at it whenever you do the respawn chamber.
Yeah.
Wait. Why is his body moving but his head's not?
It's supposed to be like, because his like head, I guess, is like being strung up by the rope or something, but his body.
I guess I don't know how that works. Alright,
Yeah.
let's get away from this. But, I forgot what I was gonna say. Shit. Oh, did you save properly? Oh, yeah, you activated. Never mind, I forgot how that
Yeah,
works.
I'm good.
Yeah, so if we die, then Meena respawns there. Oh, that's what I was gonna say. This game, for anybody who's new, this game is like, it tells you what to do, but it's not so hand-holdy or linear in design that it's obvious to do it either.
It's the only way to get to the medical subsection. Pick up the battery from the floor and find a recharger. The one you used before is in hard vacuum now, I'm afraid, but there should be another one on this deck. Once you get the battery
Is it in your inventory?
recharged, place it in the auxiliary override.
Okay. So then was it for that just one charge battery thing that it automatically did it instead of going in your inventory? Remember you complained about it earlier.
I complained about how when you use it in like the wall that you just right click on it instead of dragging it like out like this basically.
Oh, okay. Man, this still looks great.
Yeah.
I was really worried. Like, even if it is a little bit different, I don't see this and think, wow, how ugly.
Oh, yeah, we have like actual like gun animations now. It's cool. Yeah, like a draw animation.
There's your boy Xerxes.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I'm so used to System Shock 2 just not having like any animation like for anything.
Meena
Drinking
cares about
vodka.
that stuff. Meena really was appreciative of the things that they did for
Xerxes
Quake
has
2
control of the ship's
Remaster.
security
Yeah.
system. Avoid or destroy any security cameras.
Can I see the bubbles?
This
You can
is
hack
Xerxes.
security computers to
Please
power down the
report
cameras
any
too if you're
unauthorized
good enough.
database
But don't
interactions
botch the
to
job.
your directive.
Set up
Pretty
the
cool.
alarm
I love
yourself.
this.
Remember,
Your
a
corpse is
smooth
useless to me.
operation is everybody's responsibility.
That insipid computer Xerxes has shut down the elevator as well.
Deep said that
Transfer power at the engine core
that
of deck 1,
the
which will get the
developers for
elevator
this
up
game
and
were
running again.
originally working really
But you
under
can't use the
budget
elevator to get down
or had to
there.
work on a limited budget.
There's some kind of maintenance
The shooting
access
feels
right
different.
on this hallway.
Animation's
You
a
can
little
use it to
different.
reach deck 1.
It feels
Each
like
deck
there's
has a
more
chemical
kickback,
storeroom Where
right?
you can find the
Yeah.
resources you need to research the artifacts you'll find around the ship. Don't try to carry around all the chemicals at once. It's impractical and unnecessary. Your research
There we go,
software will tell you what chemicals it needs.
Oh, I wanted to mention, there was a thing that one of the mods did that it's probably the thing that's installed where every time you find a dead body, like a shotgunner, they have a shell in their shotgun, right? And then you manually take it out and remember, it used to be
Oh,
more
yeah.
tedious than the original,
Yeah.
and then they updated it.
Yeah, they made it where like you don't have to do that.
I kind of liked that tedium step personally.
Yeah, I didn't mind it because it basically meant that like, well, you always have to work for that one shotgun shell if you really want it, basically, which I think is fine. I don't mind it.
What did they change and do instead though? Because you it's
They
like
just made it where the shotgun shell's like just it's on the body. Like there's always one shell like on the body.
right. And this mod or this enhanced has that mod installed, right?
I think it's part of
I'm gonna
SCP.
assume so.
Yes. Yeah, I believe it's
Okay.
part of SCP.
Okay. Oh, I wonder if they fixed the hitboxes on the stupid monkeys because they were so hard to hit originally.
Yeah, sometimes you try to shoot them and like you just wouldn't hit them even though like it looks like you directly aimed at them.
Not just that, but I felt like the melee was sometimes like finicky. Like you're pro with the melee in Deus Ex in this game, but I'm a normal person, and I just felt like I had to be so particular to actually hit them. So they were my fearsome nemesis.
There's a parry just there. That was cool. I don't know if you saw that, but like he did an overhead swing. He did an overhead swing while I was behind him, and I hit like the pipe while he was overheading. That was really funny. I'm kind of not a huge fan of the recoil on this thing because to be like a laser pistol, I don't feel like should have like too much of like a kick when it fires. I kind of liked how it was in the original, where it was a very, very subtle like jolt when you'd fire it.
Energy, right? So that's pretty
Yeah.
powerful to hold, right? So
It's like a late. I mean, it's a beam of like light. I don't know. I feel like I like the more subtle like shoot animations in this in the original game.
I guess like the taser doesn't exactly have a kickback, and that shoots
Yeah.
electricity. So I guess I see what you mean. I guess they did it because they worried that it would look like there wasn't much use feedback or shooting feedback.
Yeah. Like I would maybe like it on the overcharge shot, but not on the not just like the standard like blue.
What does the overcharge
Fire.
look? If do
That's where
it
it's
if
red.
you get near.
No,
No,
I'm
no,
not gonna. I'm
no,
not
no.
gonna
I
do it
mean
right.
like, yeah. I meant
Oh,
like do it whenever you're near a charge station.
I don't want to shoot because it breaks my durability.
Oh, okay. I forgot durability.
Yeah. So you do have a speed. Yeah. This is the spot to use a speed booster.
Mina taught me
This
this.
is Xerxes. Remember,
And then
the
skip those two
unauthorized usage
assholes.
of
We don't need to
firearms
fight them.
aboard the
Yeah,
Von
not now.
Braun is a Class 3 infraction.
Oh yeah.
Be careful with using speed boosters because you can run into walls and kill yourself.
When you first played this game, did you like fumble trying to figure out where to go at all?
Yes. Oh yeah, I was wandering around like a lot. See, normally what you had to do is you drag it like this, but now they can let you just walk up to it and just press right click basically. It's a nitpick.
Well,
It's
you
not
have
really-
you have the option to do it though, right?
Yeah, you can still do it that way. Yeah.
Well
Yeah, so
done.
that's cool then. If
Uploading
you still have the
some
option to
cybernetic
do it the way you
modules.
want.
Find an upgrade unit as
Bulkhead.
Oh, and that's fast loading.
Yeah.
Although I guess it was always
good.
fast. It wasn't
You've
that
managed
slow.
to get into
All right.
med.
I need to
Now
test if I
find
can kill
Grazi and
myself
get
with
the key card to
sprinting.
the cruise sector.
Yes, you
You
can.
might win it.
Okay.
Okay, the game is based. They didn't
Yeah.
ruin it.
Good.
So
You've managed to get
before
into
you
med.
continue on,
Now find Grazi
before you
and-
continue on, do you want to immediately boot up the original System Shock 2 and compare?
Intruder entering medical sector A.
Yeah.
Intruder.
I could do like a little.
Many
test.
demonstrate
I'll make a super save here.
know your
Do you have it set up to where like you could even just easily switch to the original? Like any
Yep.
fixes you need to do or any OBS troubles?
Yeah, I have System Shock 2 Classic right here. I don't know if I have
Luckily,
any
Mina can fly through this game.
Let's see if I have any mods installed on this.
You might have the RSD mod.
I do, yeah.
It doesn't really matter because you're mostly talking about hitboxes, you're talking about movement and visuals. We're not so much
Yeah.
like worrying about gameplay balancing and
Yeah,
whatever.
I'll just boot it up as it is. Let me see.
Don't forget to recast it to me.
I will.
Xerxes is sexy. Who's the one that said that Xerxes is their favorite System Shock character?
I don't remember. Oh, it just crashed.
There you go.
That's it. They've sabotaged it. They sabotaged the original game. Let's try this. It's like.
Hold on. Is it on OBS?
Yeah, that's where I'm trying to get it to pop up. There we go. Here's the original interface here. Yeah, see, like the menu here is a lot less like robust than the new one. It's a lot more kind of simple on the options here. Hard, start the game. Water, thank you. Oh god, I forgot the sensitivity is like crazy on this game also. By default.
Normally the
Welcome to the
sensitivity's
Ramsey
too
Center
stiff.
UNN recruitment facility.
Here's the
Please
original.
watch your step when leaving the train.
Here.
The
See, it's like
grab shafts
lighting
at the end of
stuff.
the
You don't have
hall
like the
will take you to
lights
the
kind of through the
street-level
grates
training and
here.
recruitment center. Please proceed to
Look
the grab
up.
shafts.
Look up. Look up. Yeah, I kind of see what you mean.
Yeah.
Go to the vent. Go to the. Oh, is there even a vent? Oh, there is. I hear
There
it.
is, yeah, see.
Yeah, you
There
were
is,
right. You were right. They still have that fog.
Like,
Oh, go to where the train drives through. You said that you saw smoke out there too. Right there. Yeah, see?
yeah,
No, by the
originally
light,
there was
remember?
smoke there,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's not there anymore.
One thing I noticed is like
Lights are pretty bright in
footsteps footsteps sound more pronounced here. Like, let's say I'm like on, like the grate here.
I get why they would remove it because it does make it seem like a little bit too like it's silly. Like I'm trying to be in this survival horror spooky environment space station. Although we're not at the spooky part yet, we're at a normal space station. But like hearing your little like high heels clopping around, you know.
I like
it. Makes
I like
it,
the footsteps.
No, no,
it makes it feel grounded.
No, I like it, but it just makes it. It makes it a little bit corny. Like hearing. Like J.C. Denton, like like.
Okay, this doesn't.
So
have the lights
I'm
here,
mostly
too.
just saying.
These are pretty similar. Keep going.
I was just mostly saying, like, I get the logic and why they changed it.
Yeah.
Welcome to Space Station.
See the more like posterized texture here. You can see that like the palette here is kind of limited.
Better still,
on these textures
you managed
here.
to learn a thing or two about
I never
weapons,
actually really
but now
registered
it's time
that.
For the real deal. Your tour of duty will consist of 4 postings over 4 years. The Corps demands a lot of you, Grunt.
Oh, and then look for the terminal that doesn't exist, remember?
Yeah, it's on there now.
Explosives. This posting is for you. There's a lot of heavy lifting, but ordnance also gets the first.
I just say fly through this. You don't even need to worry about what you pick, hardly.
A tour of duty aboard the Antigua should let you pick up some one-on-one beam weaponry.
Posterization does give it a really nice look. When you take that away, things look a lot cleaner.
Yeah, there's a bit of a grungier look in these with these like old textures here.
It requires a lot of standing around.
And also like the no like filtering on the textures too, which is an option in the original. You don't have to.
I fucking knew it. Go back. The colors are more saturated, aren't they?
The original, I kind of feel like it, yeah.
Like, the new one still looks good, but I feel like it's just... The saturation is cranked so far up.
Yeah.
It also just looks darker. Am I crazy?
The entire sector is depressurized.
Oh, this actually does look at check it out. The original actually does have like kind of like directional like shadowing kind of with the lighting here. So it's actually, I think it's not new in the remake. You can see, here's
look
that
at the bullet holes. Yeah, see what I mean? It kind of looks a little bit better. Like it's more clear. Like when I see the bullet holes, I'm like, yeah, those are bullet holes. But in the new one, I'm like, wait, what is that? Is that like some kind of like thick blood?
Yeah. Also, I like the kind of more crunchy blood here too, where it's like more pixely looking. It's a little more smeary looking in the new one, which I guess is like, it's more realistic technically, but I don't know, I like the retro look. Here's like these computers also, like the lower poly one where it doesn't have like geometry sticking out.
Remember those tiles that I said had that overly sharpened look? Can you show me some of those? Oh, here they are. See, I did actually make a comment, given benefit of the doubt, that they might have originally had that like highlight outline, so it seems that it is that way.
Yeah.
Warning. Decompression event imminent.
Yeah, this is darker, like I can hardly see, but in the new one it felt like it's not. Also, remember that hallway that had the moving red light?
Yeah.
Also, I wanted to say I like that light texture more that you were just looking at. You just didn't interact with it. I like it because I can see a pattern in it, whereas in the new one it feels so bright I can't see anything.
I can see that. See, now it's like the original, you can't just like press it, you have to drag it in basically. And there's a few objects in the world that require you to do that.
I've just uploaded you some cybernetic
There's this
modules.
spot here.
You can use them to
So
upgrade
you can
your
kind of
cybernetic
climb.
rig at the
This is the
upgrade
original.
units in this area. There are 4 types
In the
of
original,
units.
you could like, you would clip through this right here.
Stats,
But I think I'm using a mod
and tech.
that I think fixes it too. But you can still kind of climb up it like this.
So will climbing not be a thing in the remaster at all, or will they just remove climbing for anything with a slope?
I think it's still there in
the remaster.
In the remaster, but
okay.
yeah, I don't know. Just something feels a little different about it.
Okay, try to make that jump and see how different it feels. Because you missing jumps is a bit unusual.
Yeah, it might be. It could be that I'm just used to having agility when I do this jump. But the main thing I was wanting to test is the collisions, like when you slide here, basically. It's like, okay, you still kind of like slide here, but it feels a little more like instant rather than you kind of like.
Keep in mind you might have the mod installed.
Yeah. Yeah, see, it's kind of more instant when you fall. Yeah, I can kind of like more make it here, I feel like. Yeah,
I don't know. Like, oh, we got it.
See, I don't have any.
Struggling.
A little bit, yeah, but like I have no agility. I end up having to like get the agility.
Oh, so to even get even remotely close to doing that,
Yeah.
you need agility on the remaster, but in this you don't necessarily.
Yeah, like something feels different about the movement. Yeah, I'm on agility 1. I'm able to make this jump. Let's see. Something feels more instant about like the movement. Like it's not fully instant with the inertia. Like, see, I'm like walking. I'm gonna stop. I'll go walking, stop. Like there's a little bit of like inertia where you know it takes a second for you to stop basically, but it feels a little bit more delayed in the remaster. It doesn't feel as tight basically in the remaster. I don't know how to describe it exactly. The main thing I was wanting to test too is like.
I kind of get what you mean. Hitbox. You're interested in the hitbox.
Yeah.
So you theorized that the new hitbox is a capsule. Oh, thank you for handing out, Deep. So you think the new hitbox is a capsule, but the old one's a square.
It kind of feels like that, yeah. Because like I'm walking here, and it's like I'm kind of sliding here, but I feel like I don't feel like it's because my box is a capsule or my hitbox is a capsule. I feel like this is kind of like. There's a square on top of another square here, or like a slope or something maybe. But see, I kind of drop down right here. You can kind of feel like there's a stairway or something. Like it might not be the best like case example, but like I want to walk by like a ledge. And you kind of slide. I don't know. Maybe you are a capsule in the original game. I might just be being thrown off by just like maybe like a little movement inertia change might just be throwing me off in the remaster.
Do you also think that there might be placebo or whatever where we are so sensitive to looking for changes that we might be imagining more changes than
Possibly,
there really are?
Yeah. There's definitely something changed with like the way the movement looks, like the view bobbing and like the I don't know, like to me the inertia, just something feels a little bit off about it to me. But yeah, see, like when I get near the edge, I don't have a gun right now. Well, I have this one actually. Yeah, here's the original energy pistol where he holds it with one hand. See, there's no like fancy animation, but when you shoot, it's like this little jolt. But like, I don't know, I kind of just like how the original one feels.
Now aim up.
Like
aim up. Yeah, everything feels kind of samey. Like I see what you mean. It's not like the camera doesn't pull out and you start seeing more of your arm.
Yeah.
Like in the remaster from what we saw.
Yeah.
Man, I feel like I really do more in all this darkness, bro.
Let me out
Yeah, like
here.
it feels darker the original.
Well done. I'm uploading
Like
some
this
more
area
modules.
still looks nice, but there's some rooms that are just way dark. Like the room that you just left.
Yeah.
That I don't feel like it looked like that in the remaster. And I know it's like a small thing, but I kind of like it.
Yeah. It feels like shadows are a bit like harsher in this, like they're just generally darker.
On most decks, you'll find
On the hang guy here, like his entire body like turns.
Yeah, even in the remaster, the face actually looks pretty faithful to how this is.
Yeah.
They mostly just kind of fixed up. I mean, if they follow the same skeleton, then in the remaster, the arm positioning is the same, correct?
Yeah,
Or
I feel like
not
that hanged model to me looks like a different rig to me. But the enemies and like NPCs are walking around, they seem to have the original like animations in the rig to me. So I don't know if the, the remaster has these little green lights on these that tell you to use these. I don't know if the remaster has those. I'll need to check that.
I was gonna say, technically, you can use a skeleton and swap out the model to be completely different, too.
Yeah. Alright, I'm using a mod where shooting cameras makes the alarm go off. But yeah, I feel like I've seen enough of the original to like have a like that gives us our frame of reference basically. So we
Right.
go back
To
the
where
remaster.
what we kind of theorized seems to mostly be accurate, but
Yeah.
figuring out the capsule hitbox versus square hitbox, we're just not sure what's going on.
Yeah.
But you don't seem to be overly confident in how the original one is regarding the hitbox shape.
Yeah, I feel like what's different is like the inertia and like movement a little bit, basically. Not necessarily the player collision. It might be different, but I'm not 100% sure. I feel like that's something that like would require extensive testing and or like, you know, technical knowledge, like actually getting it and like modding it, and, you know, to better understand how it actually works.
You do not know of her intentions, of her history. She once tried to destroy your species, and now you do her bidding. Intruder entering medical sector A.
This area still seems dark.
Yeah.
Captions that are small. Are we able to adjust that? I don't think the original even had captions, to be honest.
There weren't captions in the original. I don't think you can really adjust it here. Is it language options? No.
Wouldn't it be in video?
I feel like it's in... Yeah, where was... I know... Oh, maybe audio. Yeah, it's here. It's like speech captions, I like subtitles, but yeah, there's no size or scaling for it seems like.
Yeah, it's kind of limited.
Yeah. I guess you could turn the gamma, if you want the game to be like darker, you could like pull the gamma like a little bit down.
Oh, well, we should leave it at whatever the default is.
Yeah.
And then whenever it comes to replaying for pleasure and not for science, then you kind of adjust it the way that you want. Like if you want to get rid of bloom and stuff like that. Actually, out of curiosity, if you got to a point where this is your main way of playing this game, is this remaster, would you eventually start turning bloom off and stuff, or are you fine with it and would just leave it on? Like if we're going straight by curating your preference, what would you actually end up doing?
Let's see how it looks without bloom. What's with that? I feel like I turn it off. I feel like the bloom's a little distracting, personally. I just turned it off and I'm like, yeah, I think I like it more without the bloom.
Can you show me a comparison again?
Like
look around and then turn bloom back on.
See, it's like this whole subtle like kind of like highlighting kind of at the lights. Especially like look underneath the lights, how there's like kind of like a little like white blur there, and there's a blur around
actually,
the
like
logo.
go back, go and look a little bit to the left more, and then just freeze on that. I'm gonna take a screenshot.
And
then I'm gonna post it and
through streaming and like Discord. It might be harder to tell from your end.
No,
also.
I can tell. Don't worry. Don't worry. Okay, now switch to the no bloom.
I'm about to get attacked by a monkey also. Alright, here's no bloom.
Alright. Fight. Worry about the fight and then show me. Yo, this is 28 days later, bro. Did they improve the monkey models?
Yes, their models look better to me.
Cool. Okay, now go back to that spot and then let me look again. All right, I'm gonna study these two comparisons a bit, and then you keep playing. Old, and then I'll save this new one as new.
I don't remember if this surgical unit right here is activated in the original or not. There's a turret there. It's also ambient occlusion, which I don't think that was a... I don't know if the original game had ambient occlusion. by default. The ambient occlusion is kind of like the it's sort of like putting faked kind of like shadows in like environments, basically, like around like the edges of walls, like where two walls kind of like connect, basically. Like you can see like this kind of like pay attention to the corners around the floor here. This is like no ambient occlusion.
Yeah.
You can turn AO on. See how like there's a little bit of subtle like shadowing there.
Yeah. It's good for like kind of like separating the parts.
Yes.
So looking like it's hard to get like a perfect comparison. Maybe you were right about me watching this through Discord instead of playing it myself, but like flipping between the two, I feel like whatever differences in at least that room, it's very subtle, I would say.
Your R-grade cyber rig has an experimental perception enhancement that can theoretically detect residual psychic emanations. These emanations traditionally come from the recently dead. Literature might call them ghosts. I call them self-hypnotic defects in the R-grade unit. Don't let it distract you from the job at hand.
Is this some kind of joke? Hello?
Hello? Is this some kind of joke?
He's in the irradiation area. I think there's like a reverb there also that was not in the original.
Do you feel like hitting them's easier?
Feels about the same.
Okay. Did they have that death animation in the original? Did you see that? Where it started convulsing a little?
I think they kind of had that, yeah.
Okay. How's the soundscape and sound design in general? You were a little bit worried about that, but it seems to still be good. Not that I really thought they would be adjusting the levels that much. Why would they, you know?
Yeah, it seems about the same, I feel like.
Oh, unless, like, you wanted to adjust audio levels with the modern headphones in mind or something, right?
You'll persist in your loneliness.
You were hurting.
Is this? I thought this one you had to like use a surgical unit here, like you had to like activate it. I don't remember that was a thing. I'm pretty sure you had to use one here.
No, I thought they gave you the first one for free.
But there's another one also down in like the monkey room that was also like activated. Could be some SCP things or something too that like change some stuff. Like I'm more familiar with like super vanilla than like anything else.
I feel like I
body armor.
don't think Night Dive would touch too much of the gameplay.
Yeah.
Because they didn't do that for Quake 2. Like, I mean, they adjusted maybe guns, muzzle flashes, maybe numbers on the guns, but they wouldn't necessarily adjust environmental stuff or whatever.
There's a few things, yeah. Like they actually expanded like the very beginning area a bit in Quake 2.
Oh, okay.
There's a little bit of stuff that they did. See, I don't think I have hacking right now. I'll come back here later.
What is a drop of rain compared to the stars?
Well done. I'm uploading some more modules.
Compared to a mind, our unity is full of wonder.
Nice.
Wonder which your tiny individualism cannot even conceive.
Glad to see that they kept the ladder still like weird tree style.
Yeah. I bought a tracking upgrade yet. I like these these boxes here. These like kind of high geometry is cool. High poly.
Yeah.
I like this kind of like half broken. Here, like it looks very nice here.
You should do something for that for your game.
Yeah, like pre
for like a glass or two.
Yeah.
You have it set to where like everything just disappears, but like I feel like having like a variation where some shards stay will be kind of cool.
Yeah.
But so far, I'm leaning towards thinking that Night Dive, you know, hit with this. I feel like this is good.
Yeah.
Because most of the things that we've said, even if our theories are right, like, oh yeah, this is different, not necessarily saying like, oh yeah, it's bad because of that.
Right.
Good. You've made it
Like
into
there's some things where it's like I'm so used to how it was that like it feels
wait.
weird. What's up?
Yeah, look at assets like that. Yeah.
These
So you can
magazines,
keep
yeah.
talking. I just wanted to make sure we check that shit out.
Like some things, it'll feel different, and thus I'm not used to it, basically. So when I'm playing, I'm kind of like, well, something feels off about it, basically, that I'm not gonna like it because I'm so used to, you know, how it normally is, basically. Like
This
usually in
just looks
particular, like
cleaned up.
yeah, mostly kind of talking about game feel stuff, like just the way like movement feels, or kind of like I don't know, stuff I've just kind of muscle memoried over the years, basically. The wrench mostly feels the same, like in terms of like fighting and hitting the enemies feels kind of the same to me. I engage them kind of the same way, which I think that's fine. It's preserving the game as it was. Yeah, the grenade launcher is hidden still there.
I imagine unsuspecting people will be like, oh my god, I hope that this takes off. Then we can get System Shock 3 faster, and like, you know, they don't know what's going on with that.
Please make your selection.
But that doesn't mean that we can't get a new System Shock game. It's just, you know, we're not going to get System Shock 3.
It's not going to be 3. Yeah, because the rights to System Shock 3 specifically has been sold to Tencent, basically, and there's no telling what they're doing with that.
It doesn't seem like they're going to do anything with it. It's just kind of die.
Yeah.
But Night Dive owns System Shock IP, so they can do anything they want. They just can't call it System Shock 3.
Yes, it's kind of a weird legal position, but that's where they are with it, basically. Yeah, I love this security camera. This is in the original too. This like little security camera like GIF. It's like it
doesn't seem like did they adjust the model?
I think this is like they remade like this asset, basically the like this like animation here, because it was really like low resolution in the original. I think it's just based on like the new security camera model. I am noticing one thing is different though, is where's the music here?
No fucking way.
Because music is up. Like where's the it's not playing like the spooky horror music.
Been alerted to your presence, intruder. The glory
of all the music they would no, you don't understand. The music's gone. Like
yeah, you should be
they
hearing
actually
it here.
removed it. What I don't understand is why get rid of the spooky music and not the music that people were always complaining about wrongfully. For the record, I don't think any System Shock 2 music should be removed.
Yeah,
but I don't know. Are you sure we're not just getting paranoid? Because I'm pretty sure that there are quiet moments in the game.
There are, but not here. I'm pretty sure you should be hearing. See, I have the game audio cranked. Music audio is also at 100%.
Can you boot up the original game suddenly, really quick?
Yeah, I don't know if what they've done is maybe like change like where the music comes in or something. Like make another Giga save here.
What I'm getting a little bit scared of is like I don't want them to do anything like, oh, we won't have the music be looping. We'll do it as music cues, but we haven't heard the horror music at all. So we swear we won't do this every time, but we're a little bit scared. Because whenever we have heard music in the game before, so if there was music, we would be.
Yeah, like we heard like, you know, the Medsci 1 track, like the kind of upbeat tempo music, but we didn't hear the kind of like horror music that kind of comes in when you get to Medsci 2.
I love this text. It's all like pixelated and
Yeah.
crunchy.
Yeah, for some reason OBS is like, it takes a while for me to get it to show up on OBS. There we go.
Okay, so can you suddenly speedrun this?
Can somebody let me
that's
out?
what I'm trying to do.
I can't find my car.
I need is
Let me out of here.
I'm gonna need a speed hypo, which I should get down here. Get these cyber mods.
Are you just gonna max out in speed, or as much as you can anyway at this point?
Yeah, I'm gonna grab just a point of agility like I did on the other one. Grab these, grab that. Let's turn on this strength booster. Get this agility. Yeah, endurance just for some health, because why not?
Now, if it's gone, it could be one of the mods and not actually like the remaster exactly, right?
Could be. Not 100% sure. Or I'm playing with Rosso Dude mod where enemies. This is like harder actually. It's got the Scary Monsters mod on.
On most decks, you'll find a quantum bioreconstruction
So how does the Scary Monsters mod work for anybody who doesn't know?
Enemies are they're more aggressive and they just have kind of like behaviors that just makes it a little bit harder to like avoid their attacks basically.
The power outage has also taken out access to this bulkhead.
I can't break cameras without causing the alarm to go off too. That's the other thing that one of his mods does.
The one you used before is in hard vacuum now, I'm afraid. But there should be another one on this deck. Once you get the battery recharged, place it in the auxiliary override.
This is Xerxes. Please report
That
any
insipid computer
unauthorized
Xerxes has shut down the elevator as well. You can transfer
superior.
power at the engine compartment once, which will get the elevator up and running again.
Everybody's
But you can't use the elevator to get down there. Wait,
This is Xerxes.
there's some
Remember,
kind of
you
maintenance
are
access
authorized
right
to
on
receive
this hallway.
firearms aboard
You can
the
use it to
Von
reach deck
Braun
1.
as a Class 3
However, it's
infraction.
locked, and Xerxes
I like
is
how
hiding
you
the
rush through
passcode
this
for
game. You're just bombarded with a symphony of noise.
Yes, yeah, because there's so many audio cues. All right, MedSite 2.
Good, you've managed to get into med. Now find.
Turn on
Intruder entering medical sector A. Intruder, the many demands to know your intentions. Are you allied with her?
Oh, you can find out if the the
History.
medical
bays are
bed
on.
thing.
Yes.
Destroy your species, and now you do her bidding. Intruder entering medical sector A.
I'm gonna check down here. Yeah, there's no activation. I knew that was a thing. There's no med bay thing here. I mean there is, but it doesn't have the activation key.
So re-explain for anybody who might have missed it. Yes, there's psychic monkeys in this.
Yes.
But yeah, re-explain what happens in
Okay.
the remaster.
So in the remaster, well, I have to explain how these work. So these are surgical units, which if they're activated, you can heal from them at the cost of like 5 nanites, which is a pretty cheap like health to like currency ratio in this game. But you have to use this surgical key activation, and you drag it and you put it on top of here, and then once you use this consumable, then you can heal at these. But normally you can't actually use them. But what the remaster's done is they have this like already pre-activated, where you come down here, you can just basically just heal immediately. Again, I don't know if that's remaster thing or if that's like SCP. Also, music just kicked in.
Yeah, everybody, this is what we're talking about. This music is supposed to be playing.
Yeah.
And you've been going all through this area, have you not?
I've not heard the music once yet in the remaster here.
And this song's fantastic. Also, Afro asked what this game's about.
What's this game about? It's it's a sci-fi horror game where there are strange alien creatures, I guess you could call them aliens, that's kind of like hijacked and sort of taken control of all of the
Don't give spoilers, by the way.
systems on this spaceship basically, and you're a cybernetic enhanced soldier trying to survive it basically. That's what this game's about. There's a lot of plot twists and stuff in the game. It's cool. It's worth playing if you've never played it before. The remaster just came out. This is the original version right now. I'm just comparing it for comparison's sake. But yeah, see, like you take one of these keys and then you drag it in here. That activates it. Now you can heal, basically. And these things are limited.
Funny you
these,
say
these
that.
keys.
Funny you mentioned Deus Ex. We
You
love
might
Deus
witness
Ex.
some.
Yeah, Deus Ex it came out a year after this game, and they're like very similar genre of games. The first System Shock actually had Warren Spector as its game director, and he also directed Deus Ex, so there's a little bit of tie-in that way too. Alright, if I shoot those, it'll set off the alarm.
So, what are our theories on why the music isn't playing in the remaster? Do you think it's one of the installed mods? And why would any mod remove this music? It's extremely unintrusive. Like,
Yeah,
it's just spooky ambience that's not that
Yeah.
loud. It's not the energetic music, so why would you do that?
I feel like it's either an oversight, it's a mod disabling it, or like maybe whatever's triggering the music cue to activate like just didn't work or something like that.
Or it's in a different spot, which I think was your first theory.
Yeah, I don't fully know what's causing it exactly, but anyway, back to the remaster. Let's keep it rolling.
Also, don't forget to recast to me.
I know it takes me a minute to even get it to like get it going on OBS.
But if they fuck up the music and it's not one of those mods that you could just take off, maybe you should re-look at the mod descriptions and see if they adjust the music. If anything does, I would disable personally. Because that's a deal breaker for me. If you fuck with the sound design, or if you fuck with the music of System Shock 2, I can't coexist with that.
It's like one of the mods is just the remaster right here. So I guess if you took this off, that would probably remove like all the new graphical stuff, basically.
Yeah, but we want to experience like some of the new.
I do
experience
want
the new models. I
wonder
can
if something with
sim.
like I'm curious about something. If I add this, it changes the. Someone mentioned something about the load order, like it still matters.
Oh. Yeah,
so
yeah.
I wonder if
so
there's a load order.
Don't rearrange. No, you should probably keep it on.
Well, I'm loading my old game that has like them. You know, I assume that the mods are based on what like game save you're on, basically. I would assume so, at least.
Okay.
So there's a chance it could be a load order issue. I don't know. Maybe I accidentally rearranged them or something whenever I started the game.
I don't think you did.
But I haven't really run into like any issues in the game aside from like just this music thing. So the area that the music activated was when you go down to like the monkey area. Also, let me go try like running down there and see if that like resets the music to turn back on. It's when you go down. Not here. It's down here.
I'm pretty sure there was something that you played before where the music cue broke and didn't kick in. What was that?
That was very recently. Yeah, see it's got the medical activation key on. So yeah, interesting. This game has some it's got some little balance changes here that kind of make the game a little bit easier, I'm seeing in this remaster. Which means you're not really getting a full like pure experience if you do play the remaster. Just something to keep in mind. Yeah, the music kicked in whenever I walked back up here.
Just try like perusing through the level. Maybe it's another room that makes it happen. Maybe it's to throw veterans off. At least I hope. I'm coping, man.
You're coping.
Or you ran into a glitch.
Maybe.
Because that's the funny thing is like, you play this as soon as it comes out, and then in a month it's going to be different. They're going to like update it and change things.
Yeah, we're playing this day one basically.
I'll be right back.
Okay. Just seeing if anything's like different here. See, like these have some of the changes. It seems like from SCP because I do have SCP turned on. It's kind of cool. It makes like alcohol no longer drain your psi energy anymore. Lethal weapon's just so busted in this game. I also have I got some mods as well, so I can upgrade my stuff. Yeah, I don't even have hacking yet. Let's get that now. There's like 2 audio engines. You only like a save. There's like 1. Where is it at? I guess you can't change while the game's running. Let me end it. It's not credits. If I go to Fmod. Okay, immediately the volume changed when I went to Fmod. It's much quieter.
I live.
You live again. I'm just curious to see if it's like an Fmod issue or like the OpenAL. Because I had the other, like the OpenAL sound driver running or sound engine. So I'm wondering if like the sound engine was like affecting it.
Hey, maybe. Also, another idea is if you go through a load-in door and then come back, maybe
Yeah.
you can fix it.
Maybe.
Okay, now try going back. Wait. Okay, this music. Wait, the
I don't hear music here
Medside
either.
music doesn't. Huh?
Yeah, what's going on with the
Try
music?
going to where it originally kicks in. Did
Yeah,
they
you can't-
turn it into fucking music cues like I feared? There's no way. There's no way. There's no way. Okay, can you duplicate your save? And then can you, turn off the mods for the other save?
Okay.
This matters.
Yeah, this is
Hey,
the. Kind of, I'm going back to OpenAL.
Don't gaslight me.
I wanted
me.
to test one more thing.
You agree with me on this. Don't act like I'm the only one who cares.
I'm just testing something too, because I went back to OpenAL and I noticed like OpenAL is like louder in ways than Fbot, I think. Yeah, I feel like the mixing's different. Like my footsteps are much quieter in OpenAL, whereas Fbot sounds kind of more like the original game's mixing, where the footsteps are loud. So I can like barely hear my footsteps here, but when I was on Fmod, it was much closer to like the original audio.
Augmented, we're bugging out. The music's not working properly.
We're not hearing the music in the game. Like it's not like activating for some reason.
Makes me sad,
okay.
bro.
So yeah, should I just
duplicate the
should I just turn off all the mods?
Actually, start off with just the remaster, and then we'll be able to find out if it's the remaster's fault.
It's like only.
No,
Enhanced Edition.
not.
Enhanced Edition is the only one that's activated. Everything else is off.
Oh, okay. Let's try that first then. Sure. And that's fine. Like, you don't necessarily need mods for this game.
Welcome to the Ramsey Center UNN recruitment
Wait,
facility.
why are you at the beginning? I thought you can like load your save and do the mods.
No, I think it has to be like it's a separate save. I'm pretty sure. Well, let me try. I'll try loading, but I assume that. Yeah, see, this has got like SCP activated and stuff. So I think it loads the mods based on the save. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so there's no way that we could just take a pre-existing save and then adjust.
I'd have to speedrun it. I'd have to start from the beginning of the game and then speedrun, basically. 2 here again to see if the music like works, basically. That's why I was like apprehensive, basically. You see what I'm
Okay, I
saying?
guess continue on as is. I mean, it's technically the authentic, real experience of you playing the remaster for the first time.
Yeah.
I was just really hoping that we can fix this because this playthrough is going to really frustrate me if we don't have any of the music.
Yeah. Because again, music audio is 100%.
I was surprised. I was surprised that it even had like the med size still. Well, I wasn't surprised, but it does have it. We're not dumb. Like we have the music on. We're telling you, like we could hear footsteps. If we can hear footsteps, if there's music, we will hear the music, and it's not there.
Oh wait, I hear it now.
There it is. It finally kicked in. So they changed when it activates.
It's really quiet. Like really, really, really quiet. Like here. I got master volume at 40%. Listen how loud sounds are. Like.
What the fuck?
Like. That's our audio here. I'm going to. Music's 100%. I'm going to turn volume, like sound effects, all the way to 0. This is how the music sounds. Yeah. So there's some strange mixing going on, I think.
So basically, they listen to the criticism of people who don't like the music, and they're just like, "Oh, well, we'll just make it kind of like quiet."
Yeah, so
Okay, put it up to 100 as he says, and then we'll just have to be quiet for a bit. Let's see what's going on.
Now everything's ear-deafeningly loud. So it's like I have to like do, sound effects maybe at like 50 and the music at 100. And I feel like the music's like too loud. Okay, so I think the music is like it feels like music is like being affected more by master volume than the sound effects are. It's like kind of scaled weirdly.
Okay, so then was it our fault? Are we dumb? Because I could believe that. I'm pretty dumb.
Yeah, I think this is too loud still.
Yeah, we had to adjust it based on stream. So typically whenever you're streaming a game, you don't get like the optimal listening experience because you need to hear yourself talk and think too.
But there's you hear this like wind ambience also.
Yeah.
Now it's like this wind ambience is not tied to the sound effects volume or the music volume. So it's like master volume is like affecting the ambient audio in the game that's not tied to these. So there's some weird mixing going on. I'm gonna do another thing again. Make another save. I'm gonna go back to Fmod also. I feel like Fmod mixing might be better. Let me end the game. Let's go to Fmod.
Who do I get angry at? Tell me.
Okay, now we have, let's put the master back to 100. Let's put these down. Let's try this. Okay, sounds a little better. Let's see if it's still got the wind ambience tied. Okay, wind ambience is still like, it's like for some reason tied to master volume. See, I have to do some weird mixing to get this right. I do feel like Fmod. I feel like Fmod engine sounds better than OpenAL though in terms of the mixing.
So in that case, the first music that was missing, it was actually there, but because of the type of music it was just so quiet that we couldn't hear it. What about when we went back to the beginning of Medside?
Yeah, I think it was still so
the
quiet
action
you
music
hear it.
didn't happen. No, but it was audible before, or was that before we made adjustments or something?
I think I might
because
have made
we
some
heard it
adjustments or
fine.
something. I don't know.
I don't know, because we heard it fine, and then we went back to that area, suddenly we didn't hear it at all. And that was loud, no music, and that's why it took us so long to even realize something was wrong, because it was fine at first.
Yeah. I'm also not... I just came back and yeah, it's just not playing again. Like the music.
Yeah. It's like fucking broken.
Yeah, you should be hearing it.
So is that our fault, or is that somebody else's? What's going on now?
Yeah, I don't know what's causing it.
Day 1 patch. This game sucks. Can we play Bioshock instead? As requested by Augmented.
Yeah, right? Augmented's favorite game, Bioshock.
Oh, what if they casualized this and made it easy? Every single one is like good. Ah. Well, at least they kept that in. Oh, fuck. This is when I would abuse quick saves, because I'd be grouchy. Yay.
Great. Pack that one for now.
Water. I gotta see the water, bro.
Yeah, we'll
Bro,
see
you
it.
know how I feel about water. Thank God there's no music, but at least there's water, I guess. So happy.
Potential threat detected. Potential threat detected. This is Xerxes. Remember, replicator
How come you didn't
restrictions
shoot
are in place
the
for good
camera?
of all of us. All
Kind of smack it.
unauthorized database interactions will be dealt with to the utmost degree of the law.
Yes.
Alright. Got the mini map also. That's a little function there. A lot of people overlook. Yeah, again,
Did you ever tell me about that?
yeah, that was like one of the first things I told you.
Also, did you activate that? I think you did, right? The load
Security
terminal?
alert terminated.
Life terminal. What do
See
they
over
call
here.
them officially?
What, the med surgical unit?
Whatever reconstructs you after you die, that thing.
Oh. Yeah.
What is it called?
It's like bio reconstruction bay, I think. It's like
Okay.
quantum bio reconstruction, something like that.
If you get to the level that has the elevator and that music start immediately playing, bro. Let me see that fucking water.
I'm sorry.
Weirdly, it actually looks pretty lo-fi still.
Yeah.
I thought they were gonna completely change it.
It's got little caustics on the walls too.
Okay, just like very subtle, nothing too
Yeah.
dramatic. Because that's the kind of thing that I feel like people can easily overdo, thinking, "Oh, look how fancy it is." It's like,
Yeah. I think that's new. It's pretty cool. It's like Duke Nukem when like the toilets break. Oh, that's a crew cap. That's a new item. What the hell? It's like a hat.
Are you sure it's new?
Yeah, I don't remember there being a cap in the original game. Yeah.
I feel like don't you think that if they added something new, it would be like maybe a night dive reference or something? Hat that says NDS.
Watts isn't here.
You know what I mean?
So he's probably
Yeah.
in his office in the R&D sector. Maybe he's got a backup R&D card in here. Take a look around. You have not disappointed me. Transmitting cybernetic modules.
Let's hit that here. Did need to get the shoot gun here too. It's actually functioning. Nice little hidden storage area. I feel like the music thing is probably, if I was to guess, people are probably aware of this, or at least I would hope so, and that it's something that would probably get addressed pretty soon.
Hi there. Please make your selection.
I feel like the lack of music's actually going to drive me crazy if it just doesn't work or is very inconsistent in the game, because it's one of my favorite things about this game is literally the soundtrack.
Like, yeah, like, atmosphere is everything, and this is, like, now the game is the very thing that I complain about modern games doing. Where, music's intrusive. Isn't it spookier and more realistic if it sounds just like soundscape, just like real life? But I don't play horror games to have anything that resembles real life. I want things to be eerie. Now the music's coming back, so that's kind of good. But if it, like you said, if it's inconsistent, that's still frustrating.
I like this purple light kind of casted here also. It's no longer like a little flat image that's kind of floating in front of the wall, it looks like.
Also, am I getting Discord messages, or is that you?
I'm not. That's how I feel when the music doesn't work.
Also, how long are we going for tonight, by the way?
Everyone you want to.
Security system.
No, it's your stream. I don't call the shots. I try to help guide for like, you know, collab partner's sake. But no, we go as long as you want to go.
Yeah, I'm getting a little bit fatigued, so maybe not too much longer.
Okay. So this is kind of like the big, like, we're gonna talk about, you know, the development of this game. We're gonna do back and forth comparisons, blah blah blah, and then tomorrow you really get into it.
Yeah. Let's do turret model. Yeah, it looks really nice actually. I like this.
Let me look at it again. I'll really study it. Can I see the little light? Oh, it's got a little skull.
Yeah.
Can I see the light? Like, zoom in on that motherfucking shit. Yeah, it's got a little texture and everything to it. Cute.
There's a little item there. I like this.
Is that the one I found? I know there's like two things that I found that you didn't know about. One involving water and steam.
One was near the end of the game. I knew about these items, but there's one near the end of the game, like a water area. I know you're talking about that, like I actually didn't know about until you played the game.
Because I'm stupid enough to jump in water that would probably be boiling hot, because that's what I didn't realize.
Yeah, I never jumped down there because it looks like steaming water, and I'm like, that looks like pain water. I'm not gonna touch it.
And I'm just like, oh wow, what's this? But so straight up, the music seems inconsistent, and the level audio level balancing or whatever is off.
The mixing
right?
seems weird. Yeah, something's off about it. Basically, I had to switch over to F-mod and then kind of like adjust like all the levels a little bit to get it in a spot where I feel like it sounds close to the original, and I don't like that. I feel like I have to deduct points off that, at least for like a day one thing, because I think there's a lot of people that are going to play System Shock 2 as their first experience like this, and you are, like I say with remasters, there's always something about them that gets changed or lost or is different or, you know, is inauthentic or whatever, and it's like that's one of those things where I think a lot of people are going to, you know, first experience the game that way, and they're not even going to know that something is, you know, something's off about it, basically.
Yeah, and that's frustrating, because it's like, oh, their first playthrough of a really good game, and they didn't even really get the full experience, and they might not ever find out if only they had experienced it, though, the right way, because then they would come out maybe thinking, yeah, wow, what a really cool soundtrack, but instead, they'd be like, wait, that game has music.
Dr. Watts is alive and in his office. He shouldn't.
It's like, I don't want them to think, like,
hurry.
I mean, we did hear one horror music or two, and the action music.
Yeah, and the horror music, like when it was there, I couldn't even hear it really until I, like, you know, messed with the levels, basically. Because the
Do you
music
think this
sounded
could only
like
be an issue with? Do Do you think this would only be an issue with streamers, like who have to balance things a certain way so chat can still hear us? Or...
I don't think that has anything to do with it.
Most unfortunate. Also, because I don't drink coffee or haven't been, I'm like tired. I'm not gonna actually go to bed, but you feel that body fatigue in your eyes.
You might be getting tired too, because you're kind of doing like a passive activity as well.
No. I can tell. I can tell it's physical. It's the damn coffee.
I got you.
Because I had a headache earlier too. No, I'm actually pretty enthralled because I like this game, and well, I mean, the music is kind of killing my mood a little bit.
Yeah.
Because it was the very thing I was afraid of. I was also afraid of them fucking up the visuals, but it seems like it's like good enough, you know? Maybe some things are as microscopically different.
Good work.
But
Here are some more
I feel like this looks fine.
Spend them wisely. They're not easy to locate.
Soda.
That's the same body that was hanging.
Yeah, same face.
Oh no, another classic case of same face, bro.
They're not dead. They want you understand? They want you as a host.
I love how his arm is really lanky.
Yeah. Originally, you could just like you just grab and like loot his body while he's talking to you. Also, which I thought was funny in the original. But now they made it where you gotta wait till he's like dead. Used to have like two audio logs. I'm pretty sure. Also, did they let's see, where is it? Maybe they moved. Oh, I think you just get both logs. I think, or maybe it was like something else in this room. I didn't really pay attention to the other log. I picked up if I could get one.
Run.
And these bastards rush in here. They both gave me 7 shotgun shells. Hey, look, there's like a very subtle like fog. Here, you see that? I like that. I like when it's like kind of like spotted fog, where it's just kind of put like in like a spot. I think it's kind of.
I
like
can actually kind of see it.
Yeah.
Chat, can you kind of tell? I don't know if they're able to tell.
It's very subtle, but there's a fog here.
Oh yeah, you can see it really clear, like there in that spot. Like yeah, it's like right in the center of the hallway.
Yeah.
One thing is, they do seem to be a bit subtle with like their effects. Like even when the bloom is on, it's not really that distracting or bad. Like I've seen so much worse. Oh no, I've seen flat out bad. I wouldn't even say this is bad at all. Oh, should there be music here?
Yeah, it's like the music in this level is kind of, it's normally supposed to be kind of off and on based on like where you are, but when you get back to the main lobby, the music should like definitely be like playing. Can we still abuse
Can you still wrench these bad boys?
Yeah. Let's move to a better location.
I literally figured this out on my own the first time I played. I'm a fucking god gamer, bro. When did you figure this out?
After a couple playthroughs, I'd say. Probably like my second. Or maybe late to my first one.
Did you examine its head? Its head?
Did I what?
Did you examine the robot's head after you killed it?
I don't think I did. I think they give nanites. Oh, hair tool.
Don't they give you batteries a lot? Or is that
They
just high
can.
chance?
They can. They're in the loot table.
Do not waste time patting yourself on the back. Get down to that shaft to engineering and reset the primary reactor core. That will restore power to the elevator and you'll be able to get up to deck 4.
Also,
Get
I just
going.
realized something, Meena.
What's up?
You haven't been activating your crows in a long time.
Oh, you're right. I haven't been thinking about it. It's one of those like it's one of those like extra steps I just kind of forget.
Busy work before stream, busy work after stream. Also, make sure that you keep on top of uploading your VODs. I'm getting a little bit worried.
Just hoard my points.
So the
here.
next area after this is the
Engineering.
filter area, right?
Yes. Yep.
You think they might adjust things about it?
Well, considering that they've turned on, like, you know, med bays that normally were turned off, I feel like I wouldn't be surprised if they changed something about the engineering bay area.
Now we can knock points if they make the game easier, correct?
I feel like it depends on how they do it, I feel like. Because I feel like the med site, I feel like the med site area is pretty well balanced to begin with. I do feel like when you get to engineering, I feel like it's a little, I feel like it might be a little overly rough there, like the way the difficulty curve in the game works, because the engineering bay is pretty nasty on a first playthrough, and it's pretty early in the game for how hard it is, I feel like. Because once you're out of the engineering bay, you're kind of smooth sailing for the rest of the game, I feel like. And I feel like I wouldn't mind if the engineering bay was softened a little bit, but then after the engineering bay was like hardened a bit, if that makes sense. I feel like I wouldn't mind that.
Right. So based on like how the rest of the game feels after engineering, would you say that it might be unintentional, like oversight, like with how it's balanced, like maybe it was just always a bit of a flaw, so you can just forgive adjustments or two for that?
Yeah, it just depends on how they do it, I guess. But I feel like I'm open to it to a degree. I feel like this is extra geometry here, like these kind of like, it's kind of open area with like the lights down in there.
Because obviously, like, from like, you know, saying making a game easier, that sounds unappealing, right? But on the other hand, it is called a filter, so
This will restore power to the elevator.
I guess it depends on which way you want to look at it, right?
Readings from down there.
Yeah.
So keep your eyes open.
Also, look at the arm on the floor. Did you see it?
Oh yeah. It's like higher.
It's
so you can see,
holding
like,
a bottle.
You can see like the bones, like in the model. It's like higher fidelity in the original one.
Can you pull up your grid inventory? What are all those dots on the right?
Oh, dots? What dots?
Yeah,
these?
far right. No, yeah.
Oh,
what is that?
that's basically telling you if you have more strength, then you can have extra inventory slots. That's what that is.
Oh, okay. Has it always looked that way?
No, originally it looked like these kind of metallic, like little like cylinders or something, like little like nodes. Now it's like, I think it's making it more obvious that it's like, oh, it's inventory, like space, basically.
Okay, I feel like it's a little bit gaudy looking, like maybe a bit too distracting.
Like it looks kind of like these other like interface kind of like icons, basically, instead of looking more like built into like this kind of like aesthetic here, how like the rest of these things are kind of like metallic kind of looking. Yeah, I can see what I mean.
I almost want to say that like it almost makes it look like, oh, you can never access this, rather than like, or is that, I mean, you can't mess with it right now, right? Making sure I comprehend.
Just
properly.
a few of us.
Yeah, I can't.
Like, will it look different? Will it look different when you are able to put stuff in there?
Well, when I do get stuff, it'll look like, see, it's Robert. See, it's like that. Because this gives me strength, which gives you more inventory space.
Okay, so it's supposed to be there to show it as a blockage, then.
Yes, it's like showing, you know, like you can get this inventory space later, but you don't have it right now, basically.
Okay, so I guess it's good at getting that point across. I personally would just like fade out all the colors, like make it maybe a little bit slightly transparent.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Let's switch. I'm trying to see how do I switch ammo.
Oh.
That's my nav marker.
Do you have ammo types?
Yeah, like pistol is. I can't remember what the pot key is.
Do you have like different ammo already though?
I do. It's only showing like controls here.
Scroll down. Oh,
Precise
go
aim.
back. Go back. Go back. Oh, okay. Go back to controls.
Oh, here are keyword bindings.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, it's B. Okay.
Also, don't leave out of this. Does this button have anything about switching to old graphics or? Just curious, because we never like looked through this when we were looking earlier. Probably not because they have the mods.
I think
like,
it's part
at
of the mod. Yeah.
Okay, that's what I was kind of figuring.
I was trying to see.
Are you
like,
happy with your reload?
Yeah, I was trying to see if there's anything like different between switching the ammos. Yeah, I think it's cool. I actually don't think I ever noticed this, but like, it's like they made the this is literally the magazine to the gun, which I think is kind of funny because I always just saw these as like just little boxes of ammo, but apparently I guess it's supposed to be the magazine that loads into the gun.
Oh, it's like okay.
Like they'll like drop it on the ground when you look at. Like it's supposed to be, I guess, the magazine that loads into the gun. Because when I reload it, you can see like the little ammo like bullet icon on it. I think that's kind of funny.
No, you thought it was just a box that had the ammo like in it. Although I guess maybe in the original, because there wasn't a reload in animation, there wasn't, right?
No, it would just it would do GoldenEye reloading. It would just go off screen.
It would reload off screen. So maybe in the original, it was meant to actually be a box with stuff in it, but for the sake of the remaster, they changed it.
Maybe, yeah.
That's cool.
Just out of curiosity, I'm just gonna shoot this to see how. Yeah, it's pretty good animation. I like that. It still has the shell casing sound. We'll do the burst. Pretty cool. Oh, and we got bullet holes too. I like that.
I like how it has the warped metal look. It's not just a whole decal. It also has like that kind of powdery look to make it look. Yeah, like there's a little bit of subtle damage too, right next to the extreme hole.
Yeah.
That's cool.
The energy does not do an impact effect. I think it's fine.
Well, it is light or something, as you said.
Yeah. But I think I'm probably gonna call it here. I'm actually getting hungry again.
Okay. And make sure you save.
I made a quick save like a minute ago. I'll actually
okay, then let's go back to the talkies. Talkie. Oh.
Okay.
I'm going back to the Unreal Tournament music now. I'm taller than you.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I'm trying to do a bunch of things.
Lower yourself. You're too.
How's that?
And then use Alt wheel, like hold Alt and then down wheel on me to make my head match your head a little bit. It's on me. On me, yeah. Just a little bit. There you go. Perfect. No, you went too small. Go stop.
There's a delay.
And
You'll say perfect.
I know. And then I remember.
And then what?
I'm taller. I'm still looking. Oh, okay. Okay, yeah, I feel like that's fine. So, Meena, what's your closing statement? What are you feeling so far? And how do you predict the rest of this is gonna go?
So far, I basically feel like the remaster is mostly... I think it's mostly fine. Feels mostly the same in terms of the game feel. Is a little bit... The movement, like again, that that was kind of throwing me off a little bit, but I think it's mostly visual change rather than actual, like, maybe engine change or physical, like, movement change. It just something feels different about it, and I think it's mostly in just a visual, and I think it's throwing me off a little bit, so I'm getting used to it. I think the little extra details of, like, the environments and the maps, like weapon animations, like that, all that stuff's cool. I like that. I haven't tested it yet, but the fact that multiplayer should work well is pretty exciting. So I don't know about that yet, but I am like pretty happy about that if it works, basically. So I don't have much of a, I haven't tested it, so I don't know yet. The music changes I think are a bit demoralizing, like the audio issues. I'm hoping those get fixed, and I feel like I'm a very strong advocate of, like, I want that to get addressed, like, as soon as possible, because I don't like the idea of people playing the game and getting a very skewed kind of, like, experience with the game compared to, like, how, like, it's supposed to sound, because something about it by its default levels seems wrong to me, basically. But again, I don't know if it's being affected by, like, one of the mods, if it's something just purely from the enhanced edition. I don't know if it's, like, because I was, like, removing and re-adding the mods and maybe, like, a load order got messed up or something. It could be on my end. I don't fully know. But the fact that it was,
one thing that we can do is if you scrub through the VOD, you can scroll through the very, very beginning when you first loaded up the mod selection, and it should show you the order it was in, so we can probably double check that and see if it is indeed our...
Yeah, I would assume when you go to new game that whatever it's set by default is what it's supposed to be, basically. Like, that's the correct order.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, I don't think you really adjusted it until recently. Then you did move things around, trying to figure out if you moved things around or something.
Yeah, I remember I just removed a mod and then I just like re-added it whenever, like, I did the first new game, and I don't know if I put it back in the same order or not. Whenever I did, I may or may not have done that.
Whenever you added the mod back, did it indeed go back automatically to where it initially was, or was it automatic bottom or top?
No, it puts it at, like, the top or bottom. I'm pretty sure.
Okay, so possibly we may figure out tomorrow that it was our fault, and if it is, we'll definitely clarify. I probably will not come tomorrow, because obviously you're introvert, so you would like to be able to be alone in your thoughts with your chat while you play through this game. But thank you for letting me crash your party, because I really wanted to kind of autistically dissect this with you, because I feel like when our autism is synced up, I feel like we're very powerful, very strong.
Powerful.
And yeah. So you're gonna be streaming more of this tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll do it tomorrow.
Eastern time or whenever.
Yeah, I'll try to start earlier tomorrow probably, but we'll see.
We should work out though and walk up the hill though. Keep that in mind.
Yeah. Again, like, I don't know also the mod thing. I don't think I hit the apply button now that I think about it, because you have to hit apply to sort of, like, make the mod change, like, the mod load order, like, actually, like, verify that that's the load order you want to do, basically, and I don't think I actually hit that button, so I'm kind of thinking it probably wasn't a load order issue. I think it might just be like that by default, but I could also test it later and see what's up with it. But yeah, that's the main, I feel like the main area of critique I have right now is, like, the sound issues.
Out of curiosity, why don't we look at the Steam reviews really quick before we hop off and see what the negative reviews say? Because if there's, like, an influx of people saying that there's issue...
Yeah.
Let me see, negative. There's only 17 negative reviews.
It's very positive right now.
Not only was the vast majority of the work on your so-called remaster done by the community, myself included, but the number one blah, 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 blah. It's very, very aggressive. I'm actually not meaning to mock them. I have no idea what's going on. They basically just are, they seem upset that there is so much community stuff in this.
There's a lot of community mods, yeah. That kind of makes a lot of...
And they feel like Night Dive's taking credit. What does it talk about? Anything like... It's mostly just talking shit about Night Dive as a company, not so much how the game is, which I get it if they worked on mod work in the community and night dives used in it, I get why they would be upset, but
I'm seeing that some people are saying that like there's still like desync issues in multiplayer apparently.
Some people saying that it's more buggy than the original, textures glitching, more cases of getting stuck on objects and doors, environmental lighting sometimes buggy. Not really seeing much mention of the music or anything.
Yeah, I see why. One review is like criticizing. They're saying they could be bothered to keep the F5 quick save. I don't think the original game had F5 quick save. The original save is hitting Alt S. That's how I've always done it, and that's how it still is. The F keys are how you cycle between your psi abilities. So yeah, there still is quick saving. It's just Alt S. So I will say that is I think a misinformed review there. Okay, now I'm reviewing people's reviews.
Yeah, I was about to say, you kind of like to read negative reviews sometimes because sometimes you can run into unhinged shit. That's kind of funny. Like, what was it? Like, the update for Darktide, and a lot of the reviews are like, I'm not fucking paying for this!
Yeah.
We shouldn't have to pay! Should be free. Should have been free.
Should have been free. Should have been free. Should have been free. Yeah. I did see they were like saying like the player physics is like weird. And it's like that's what I'm feeling too. Something about the player physics feels weird. I don't fully know what it is yet. I'm not seeing anyone about. See mostly like critiques too about like the multiplayer. Like some people running to like invincible enemies or something. That's probably a desync issue. So I feel like it's probably gonna get a few patches. I think before everything's like worked out in this remaster.
Well, which is kind of funny because you stream two times a week, so you'll play through a little bit more of the game, and then you'll go basically a week without playing it, and by the time it's time to stream again, you'll have to install that. So, there you go. Yeah. But that you asked for this. You wanted to be a day one tester, little hamster experiment. But let's rate Abigail. Abigail's streaming. They're doing just chat, and they just kind of started.
Okay. All right. Good night, everyone. Thank you all for coming. We'll be back.
Bye.
I will be back tomorrow.
I will be gone, so you guys will be able to enjoy yourself better. I get it.
Okay. Good night, everyone. We'll see you later.
See ya.